This is the legendary Humble and Fred Show, Canada's national morning show.
You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
The following episode of Humble and Fred Radio is brought to you by FYI Music News, The Retirement Sherpa, Gig Sky, The Chambers Plan, Strain Print, Freedom Construction, Ringside MD, and Clear Air Solutions. If you'd like to talk to Humble and Fred, call 1-833-437-8465. That's 1-833-HF-STINK. And now from the Humble and Fred Queensway National Broadcast Center, here are Fred and Amanda.
Thank you, Phil. Well, you're here too. Phil's here. Amanda's here. Sean's here. It's August 14th, 2019. I was going to say Howard's not here, but that would not be correct.
What?
He's on the line. And just before we get to him, John Gallagher of City TV fame and formerly Q107 will be in after 8 o'clock to do a lot of yelling, I'm sure. But Howie's on the line. We've been missing you, buddy, but we know that you're enjoying yourself. Where are you exactly? What's...
That's really funny. So Gallagher's coming in to do some yelling after 8 o'clock. That describes him perfectly.
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, I'm in Nova Scotia. That's on the east coast of Canada, and it's just like amazing. I'm looking out at. I'm assuming this is the ocean because it's a big body of water. I'm in Cabot Links in Inverness, Nova Scotia, 3.5 hours north and east of Halifax. And I can't listen. I sent you a couple pictures there, Fred, and because I just wanted to get you a sense of what this looks like. It's like, and I've played a little golf in Scotland. I've been lucky enough to play golf in some beautiful places, but nothing like this. This is just.
Well,
there's a reason these golf courses rank so high in the world. It's just they're stunning.
You know, when again, I've driven around. I've done the drive, and I know how spectacular it is. You sent the pictures. They are beautiful. Maybe we can put them on the Facebook so we can share them with the people. But it's one of those places, isn't it? And there's several across Canada where you stand there and you go, this is my country. Like I'm not traveling overseas or I'm not somewhere else. This is my country. And it really is spectacular.
That's a great point. Like last summer, I spent around the same time I was in Victoria, and I got a chance to travel a little bit around, outside of Victoria, and I had the same sense, even though I'd been there before. This place, Barker, I've never been. Like I've been to Halifax once years ago doing stand-up in the middle of winter.
Yeah,
so
a little
I never
different.
saw it like this.
Isn't it gorgeous?
Even the drive from Halifax to here, again, I'm from the prairies. I don't know if you knew that. Simple man from Moose Jaw. But the drive was spectacular. It looks like to me it looked like I was in sort of Europe at one point. It has a sort of a south of France look, and then at another time you're like, it sort of looks like BC, and it just. But as Fred just said, you just kind of go, wow, I'm in Canada. But this is crazy.
Yeah.
And are people talking your ear off? Are you getting out of places, or are they holding you hostage with their polite and fun conversation?
It's ridiculous. Everyone is like, it's like they're so friendly. You're like, are you really this friendly?
Yep. No, they are. They got time in their hands.
And they don't mind Torontonians here. There's not that same weird Western Canada bias, because I was kind of ready for it. I have my whole thing. I'm from Toronto, and I'm waiting for them to kind of look at me sour, and I go, but it's okay. I'm originally from Moose Jaw, so you can feel sorry for me.
Right.
But here they're like, oh, we're fine with Toronto. I'll tell you, the golf course I'm at is called Cabot Links and Cabot Cliffs. There's two courses here. They're world class. The one of them is ranked number 9 on planet Earth, and I can tell you, it really is. As a golfer, it's like people travel thousands of miles to go to St. Andrews and to go to Ireland, but here in this part of Eastern Canada, they come from all over the world. This place isn't easy to get to. There's no airport directly. So if you're here, it's because you've heard of the place and you want to play the kind of golf that's played here, which is very, very different than the kind of golf we normally play.
Well, yeah, and when you say world class, what makes a course world class? You did use that term, right?
The design of it, the fact that a links course means that it links the land between the village and the sea. And it's a true links course. Inverness is on one side, and between Inverness and the water, the little village of Inverness, is this stretch of land. And the thing that makes it so beautiful is that most of the golf course is along the coastline. So every time you're on a tee, like I sent you that picture, that's from a tee. Like you're looking out over this cliff, and you're like, I'm not sure where I'm supposed to hit this, but it's stunning. Every time you turn to the the ocean, you sort of forget you're playing golf. And I just keep looking out at the sea all day, and that's part of what makes it world class. I mean, the design, all the golf stuff, top notch, but the views are just. I'm with a couple guys here, Tom Southcott, Tim Southcott, my buddy Russ Glowinski, and all of those guys have been to Pebble Beach, and all of them have said the same thing, that this is much better.
Isn't that
like
something?
The golf course. What's that?
No, I said, isn't that something to make that
We
comparison?
tend to think, it's American, it must be great. Well, the last couple of holes on the Cliffs course, the first day we were here, I was staring at them. I'm like, I don't know how much better it could be. And they said, no, like, this is it. So, anyway, I got a couple more days. I've been playing okay. I don't know if you guys knew, little Fred man and I played last week, and the Freddie boy did pretty well.
We heard.
Yeah, he's on his way.
Yes, but this conversation is about you and your golf and your
You
adventure.
don't want to talk about your golf?
No, and can you hit a ball into the ocean there? Like if you shank one?
Continually.
Yeah, it must just be golf balls there.
So I'm wondering, can you use your ball retriever in the ocean, like, or is that too much? Yeah.
As long as it's 600 feet long.
Would that be
ball
funny?
Retriever that's at least 600. No, you can hit.
We lost Howard at sea. He was trying to get a ball back.
That's right. That was my last tailor made. There's lots of great food. There's lots of great fish. I've had fish for every meal. I had chowder, Barker.
Yeah.
I had the East Coast chowder. Every meal.
Have you gotten sort of into the little village of Inverness? Have you had like any time to explore that, or is it been all golf all the time?
There hasn't really been. Pretty much every moment of daylight has been taken up by getting ready to golfing, or post-golf.
The reason I ask is because Inverness is sort of, in my world anyway, Inverness is sort of famous for one thing, and I'm not sure if you would know what that is. Do people know what that is? I don't know. Maybe it's only famous to me. Fiddle players. It's the place where all, like, Natalie McMaster is from there. Ashley McIsaac is from Inverness. Like, Inverness in particular. That is where,
really?
Yeah, that is the breeding ground for all the East Coast music is Inverness. So they say. Yeah. I mean, obviously Halifax has a lot going on musically, but for that kitchen party, Celtic, fiddle, that is the fiddle hotbed, if you will.
Well, see, I did not know that. The only fiddling I've done is with myself, but that's during my quiet time. So.
Speaking of which, I told the story that you passed on the $400 a night option, and you're down the road a bit in the Best Western or something.
Okay.
Oh, I thought that.
We did a whole half hour on that.
Okay, well, good. I mean, I didn't want to wreck your bit, but no, that was
wasn't this
when I went up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, good bit, but I'm actually staying at Cabot Links. Doesn't matter what it costs. Whatever it costs, it's worth it.
Why did I bring that up? Oh, so that was a different tournament. I thought it was out here.
When I send this clip to the guys at Cabot, I'll just cut that part out. That's fine. That's good. No worries.
Howard,
I'm at Cabot Links.
Okay.
And I'm staying at Cabot Links, which is world-class accommodations. I don't know what's going on at the Best Western, but I'm here.
No, it was fun because I talked about, the snoring thing, and you had to sleep in your car, and I said, this time he's making no mistake. He's going to get his own room.
This time, my roommate this time is the non-snoring brother, Tom.
Oh, okay.
It's very quiet at bedtime. We do our little medicine, and then we put the headphones on, and off to sleep we go.
Oh, well, that's good. And you're enjoying yourself and getting sleep. That's fantastic.
We thought you were coming up the road with your Timbits to meet the van.
Oh, yeah. I had you going down the highway on a golf cart.
No, I'm staying at the local Inverness Youth Hostel. That's where I'm
All right.
Anyways, chums, have a wonderful day. I'll be back on Monday. Thanks for helping out. And once again, Cabot Links, amazing. And like I said, I haven't done one of these golf trips. I've never gone to Pebble Beach, and it's been years since I've done something like this. And I'll tell you, very few places reputations actually live up to what you've heard of them. This was beyond anything. I don't think I understood how how great it was in terms of the visuals and the golf experience. It's just top notch. It's amazing.
Yeah, the accommodations, everything, fantastic.
Oh yeah.
No, that's great. No,
All right.
I'm very happy for you.
I'm very happy for you.
Yeah, it's a great experience.
Hey, could you do me a favor and ask me if I'm popular on the West Coast as well, or? That's just for Barker.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, kids.
All right.
I love you guys.
Okay.
For breakfast now, and I'm going to play Fred.
Yes.
I'm playing 36 holes today. 36.
Good for you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that would, 36 holes. I don't know how you do it, but you do it. After 18, I've had enough. Okay, see you, Howard. Thanks.
Take care, guys.
Have fun.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Bye, Howie. Oh my God, that's hilarious. That's so funny.
It was a comfort in.
Well, it's funny. He's been on so many golf trips.
I know.
I guess that was the last one. Up here in Ontario, a tournament. I guess that was the last one where he decided not to stay in the expensive one.
Well, now that he's framed it the way he's framed it, I do recall that he has a very special relationship with the people at Club Links.
Mm-hmm.
So he does stay at Club Links. Oh, but I do prefer the version with him at the Comfort Inn down the road.
The free shuttle to the golf course.
With the waffle maker.
A little syrup in the little buckets.
There's two sides of Howard. The one that has the relationship with the highest, most prestige golf courses, and then the one at the waffle maker. The Holiday Inn Express.
So you came in this morning, and the first thing you said to me was, Fred, look at this. I mean, and I'm serious. Howard will do 36 holes today. It's like...
He must be exhausted.
Yeah, but he loves it so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and every hole to him, he concentrates and he tries to, par, birdie, and all that stuff.
I bet he's in bed by like 7 p.m.
But he would enjoy every minute of that.
Yeah.
Where any round that I play, again, I'm a casual golfer, if that, usually by 15, 16, I'm thinking, I can taste that beer now after 18.
Right.
But yeah, and and probably, he's probably done that more than once.
Yeah.
Play 36.
Yeah. He's all in. He's all in. When he's into something, he's all in.
But he wouldn't walk those 36 holes.
No?
No. I would not think.
On the cliffs?
Yeah. If you're going to play 36, I don't think he would walk them, and it would be that type of course where he'd be in a cart at least, but it's still it's very tiring. It can be. So
sounds tiring to me. I don't know.
Anyway, you came in this morning and you said, look what I've got. Last night you went to the theater.
I did. Speaking of tiring, I went to Waitress. But when I got there, this is what I needed to show you more than the show. I get there and there's this insert in the program that says, "We made a mistake. Waitress has an approximate running time of 2 hours and 45 minutes, including one intermission." Our apologies. So it's 8 o'clock. The show's at 8. Sometimes shows start at 7:30. Well, this one is an 8 o'clock show. And the thing about it is, you sit down. It's a long day. I do this. I have a long day of work.
Sure you do.
And then I have that thing where I'm like, oh, I forgot I got theater tickets, and I'm meeting a friend, and I don't want to be the friend that bails. So I dutifully get in an Uber and make my way over to the Ed Mervish Theater. But then, Come From Away kind of had me trained because it's 90 minutes, no intermission. So you sit down and you're like on a little ride, and then that's it. You're done. 3 hours to sit down and look at something, and the first thing you see is you're going to be here for 3 hours. That's exhausting. That's an exhausting thought.
You see, I'd much rather do 36 holes than that. No, I would.
Yeah.
What would make them say, okay, it says we made a mistake. Where was the mistake made? I don't understand that.
It must be on the website or the ticket time. My friend bought these tickets, to be honest, so I wasn't as I see. Here it is. Waitress has a running time of 2 hours and 15 minutes, including a 15-minute intermission. So that was wrong, and they put that in the program.
Okay.
So here's the thing: is do you include the 15-minute intermission in your running time? that still doesn't make up for another 15 minutes. If it's a true 15 intermission, which they never are. It's probably longer. And
I just can't imagine that. Was it good?
It's good-ish. I had problems with the book. I thought there was a lot of stuff really problematic with it. There's a whole scene where this guy, it's supposed to be comedic because she's a nerd and he's a nerd. I saw the movie. I have a lot of thoughts about the movie. I love the movie. It was sort of provocative and fun and playful in its time, which was 15 years ago. But I don't know why they made a show about it. And honestly, there's a lot of problematic pieces in it. But the one that kind of bothered me the most was there's this nerdy guy, and he's like, the girl doesn't want to have anything to do with him, but it's cute because he's nerdy. And he basically has this whole song about how he's never going to give up on her, like how he's going to stalk her, basically. Oh. But because he's a nerd, it's cute and it's funny because he's just not going to give up on her. But it's essentially he's stalking her, and it's everyone's laughing and enjoying it, and then she, of course, falls for him. And this was only written a few years ago. Like, I could see it if it was in the 50s, but I was like, what are we doing here? What are we saying? And then there's the whole violence piece that is part of the show because she's abused by her husband and has an awful relationship. And at the end, she just says, go away, and he does, which is like for the solution to be like, you can tell your abuser, I'm done with you, goodbye. That's not really, it's problematic. Wow. So there was a lot of problematic stuff in it. But I'm
glad I asked.
Sorry, I know. That's why I was like. But there's some cute songs and some nice dance numbers.
So there's a stalker. You didn't like the social message there.
Yeah.
And him or her just leaving easily.
Just saying, I'm done.
Is not realistic.
Not to me. I mean, that was the movie, too, with Kerry Russell.
Right.
But the movie has an interesting story, to be honest, because the woman who wrote it, who was also in the movie, was murdered. And to me, that's the more interesting story. But I'm a dark person, so there you go.
Okay, and then my question would be, why does it take over 2 hours to tell that story?
Thank you.
And when they're... I always think of it this way. They're sitting in an office and they're planning and how we're going to present this. At no point did someone say, this might be a little too long.
Yeah, right?
Because for the casual theater goer, that's way too long for me.
I
would not go for that reason. And I'll tell you right now, after 90 minutes going on I'd be so done and want out of there.
Yeah. Exactly.
And you want people to leave in a good mood.
Well, the second act is actually stronger than the first, so they need to clip. I mean, it's been on Broadway for 3 years, so it's done. But yeah, the problem with musicals and having done one is people keep telling you, what would take it to the next level, this. Or what you need. Well, what the hole in the story is this. So you add and you build and you embed things into songs, and then next thing you know, you're sitting there for 3 hours.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I mean, to come from away, that's the one thing I liked about that. Mm-hmm. It was the right length. It had the right pacing. It was just absolutely wonderful.
You enjoyed it, right?
Oh, I enjoyed every second of it. And that's the problem now, because that's sort of my benchmark for musicals.
And that's how I felt, because that's probably the last musical most of us saw here anyway. Mm-hmm. So to sit down and be told, guess what? You're going to be there for 3 hours. Come on, we just don't have it in us. We're tired. Stop, musicals.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just, I almost would have rather it not said that.
And speaking of music, I'm having a problem with my Spotify account.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
Oh, who has trouble with Spotify account?
I don't know. Let me check mine.
It's like I'm cursed. No, yours is probably fine. But yesterday, I entertained guests in my backyard, and I have a little stereo system with the speakers.
Oh, lovely.
And I thought I want to get my Spotify, and I want to put on my summer music mix. So I put it on, and this song starts playing that I'd never heard of before.
Oh.
For 10 or 15 seconds, and then stops and goes back to the beginning. And I thought, well, that's weird. So then I hit one of the songs that I knew was on my playlist. It started playing for 10 seconds, stops. The song I've never heard of before comes back on, plays for 10 seconds, stops. And I'm in the midst right now of, I took the app off my phone.
Someone's in your account.
I know. That's what Phil said.
I was going to say, do you share it with your...
No. I don't share it with anyone.
Someone's in your account.
And every time it plays, it says I'm listening on Web Chrome or something.
That somebody's listening on your account.
How does that happen?
How that happens, I don't know. The only reason I know that is because I thought I had the same problem. I actually had my computer on, and I was directing a commercial casting session, as I do, and I was sort of shooting this thing, and then my computer starts spontaneously playing New Order, and then it starts playing Happy Mondays, and I keep shutting it off, and it keeps going back, and then I finally mute the whole computer and then go, that was so weird, where did that music come from? And I finally realized it was my husband at home on my account trying to listen.
Oh, okay.
And so he was getting frustrated because he's like, why does it keep stopping? And not realizing that it was on my computer as well.
But if somebody's are they listening? Why does mine keep starting and stopping? And the only reason I bring this up is, number one, I thought just that type of technology, how could you ever have a problem with it? Mm-hmm. Really? Mm-hmm. Secondly, I say it in case somebody else has had the problem. How do you get out of that problem? Because I deleted the app from my phone. I'm going to bring it back, but I tried that stuff yesterday. I logged out and changed my password. Still doing it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Is your Spotify connected to your Google Home or something like that? Because sometimes when someone's just asking for the Google Home to play music, it's connected to your account.
No, but
yeah.
It could just be that, or it could be a mechanical issue. Because the thing is, at 6 in the morning when we checked, it just kept playing 10 seconds of it. It's a little too scientifically accurate.
What song is this? I need to know what song this is.
Some random thing.
You know what? I deleted the app. I shouldn't have. I should have played it for the people so they could hear it. But believe me, it's just aggravating.
Was it like gangster rap or what?
No. It was called Elizabeth Chan or something.
Yeah, it's like some kind of calming dribble.
That's funny. Are you and you're sure you talked to everyone in your family, anyone that might have your Google Home?
Delise isn't on it.
Yeah.
And the Google Home, that wouldn't happen here because I'm at a range, right? Mm-hmm. So my son-in-law, with Spotify, you can go on and play somebody else's playlist.
Playlist, yeah.
So my son-in-law logged in, searched my playlist. On his phone, it played fine.
Oh, interesting, yeah.
So we might have to reinstall the Spotify app on your phone, and if it doesn't, if it changes, it's fine. So if it's fine, we're fine. But if it starts playing like that again, so if it's playing like that again with the issues, then that might be a hack issue.
I think it's a hack.
It's not a ghost.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Chan is
but
hacked
can they get my
Elizabeth
credit
Chan.
card number and all that stuff that way?
Yeah.
What?
It can, yeah.
Technically it can, technically it can't, depending on how it reaches your account, right? If it's just some random person outside hacking in, and by luckiness they found it, they can't find your credit card number. No, it's hidden.
What did you say? Web Chrome?
Web Chrome, and Phil says that means it's being played on somebody else's
either
computer.
a computer or a Google Home.
Well, that's
or
what
something related
I was going
to
back to
Chrome OS.
Sean's version of it being a Google Home thing.
I do have Google Home.
So I'm wondering.
But I've had it for a year and I've never had a problem before.
But maybe if you shut off your Google Home, just disengage it.
I don't need this in my life right now.
I know it's a lot of.
I have this problem at home because I have YouTube Music instead of Spotify.
Right.
And whenever my dad just wakes up in the morning, he just turns on the Google Home, and it shows up on my phone that my YouTube Music's being used.
Oh, I see.
And so I can't connect to my YouTube, even though I'm paying for it. My dad's using it the whole time.
Like maybe Delise is saying something that's making it play calming music.
Yes.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, she's saying, "Hey Google, can you give me the recipe for cornbread?"
And Elizabeth Chan.
Keep it calm.
Yeah. Anyway, Funny 820. It's Canada's comedy superstation. That's where we are this morning, and on Twitch TV and Facebook Live as well. Facebook Live.
Oh God.
Yeah, we're coming after 8 o'clock. John Gallagher, Spike Gallagher, will be in to say hello, and the Sherpa's coming up in the next few minutes, so we got it all here.
Funny things that I'm writing. 6 North, but for this time of the day, that's not.
Oh,
Jump
so
in there,
trying
Sean.
to write it.
I
Yeah.
don't.
Chat it up, guys.
I don't know if this
You come off the Burlington
thing
Subway
Howard's on
to
was like a
Queens
club
Road.
link.
You're gonna find volume past Apple
Yeah,
Gate.
he-
You're
no, he had to
past
pay
Third
though,
Line,
didn't
and it is still busy into
Well,
Mississauga.
Could be a discount.
He's not
Now,
hosting.
keep in mind, road work
No.
continues.
He
on
just
went with
West
some
on
guys.
Highway 8.
But
Lots
if
of
it's
money.
club links and he wants the
Get
clip,
below
then
for summer and check every
it's
box
club
with brand new
links, like-
Subaru.
or
I hope he's not annoyed at
or
me
he's
telling that story.
He's angling.
Hi, I'm Philip Hawes.
More of a relationship. I don't know.
FredRadio.com.
He's always on the hustle.
Yeah. But did you know you can also run the studio? The H&F Studio is available for audio recording and production. Podcasts.
It was a great story. I'm too bad I brought it up. I should have just let it lie.
Could have been a Motel 6.
Because that was a good story, and now it's like, no, okay.
He's like,
yeah,
okay.
I'll go with you.
Or visit our website. I'm just wondering if Cabot Links is a golf link course.
No, it is. If it's links, it's a links course.
Oh no, that doesn't mean.
I mean, it just means.
Oh, it does. It doesn't.
That doesn't necessarily mean.
In the world, though. Cabot Links.
Where's Pebble Beach?
California.
I only know that from
Pebble
Golden Tea.
Pebble Beach. Pebble Beach, California. It's near, just south of Clint Eastwood's. You know, what's the name of that? No, Clint Eastwood. The town he was mayor of.
Retirement Sherpa and a portfolio manager at Raymond James Limited.
That doesn't look like it.
I didn't know he was mayor.
Humble and Fred's unique.
I need coffee.
I've been there.
Sure. I like your shirt. Okay, here's what your shirt reminds me of. Your shirt reminds me of the backdrop of a photo, a school photo from the 80s.
The more you know.
Mold. You may find it in your home, in your basement, bathroom, walls, ceiling.
Let's do cream and sugar today. I'm gonna go all in. Thank you.
You're abusing me, husband. You socked me, now you're abusing me. Is it something like that?
Yeah, that's actually, I was like, did you go there?
Oh my god.
Listen, yeah, I'm so hard on it, but there's some real, I just have a hard time when a show doesn't play to the top of its intelligence. I just have a real hard time with that.
When you're sick,
the music's beautiful, there's a lot great about it, but
you want someone who's in your corner whenever you need them. Ringside MD in Burlington is now accepting new patients. Ringside MD has your back, with female and male doctors taking new patients now. Ask about their peace of mind plan and book your appointment today at ringsideclinic.ca. Ringsideclinic.ca.
Carmel.
Ringside MD.
Oh yeah, oh Carmel, that's
6 days a week.
That's a beautiful town. That's the Bay Area.
In your corner.
Yeah, Pebble Beach is just so
in there. That makes sense. Yeah, that's beautiful. Have you been there, Carmel?
Humble and Fred Radio.
Yes, a couple of times.
30-year brand.
I've been to Pebble Beach a couple of times. So let's do a couple of spots. We can do 2 per half hour now.
Right. So what should we start with?
I put here.
If you'd like to be part of a leading edge program with access to a very engaged audience that not only listens but also
Chambers and Gig.
Okay, Chambers and Gigs, guys.
Do you want me to do Chambers or what?
Amanda, I think you have Chambers, the sheet, so if you guys want to do Chambers and then...
I have Chambers.
Do you want to do it?
I'll do it, I don't care.
Well, not both of them, obviously, though.
I always clear too. And Ringside. And Gig Sky. Why do I have all these?
I'm wondering, too.
Who wants what?
There's only 6 today, so someone do Chambers because someone's doing Gig Sky.
Okay.
Chambers, got it.
Because Amanda's got both, unfortunately.
So, okay.
Here's Gig Sky.
I'll take Gig Sky.
I had 3 beers and about half a bottle of wine last night.
Did you really?
Ready for an exclusive
I'm not
Costco
used to that. I'm
offer
a
on
school late.
Yeah, no.
I don't feel bad though. Guzzled some water.
Just for dinner, or you were hanging out with some?
Well, I had the people that were going over to Ireland, England, and we were just putting some talking about what we're gonna do.
Itineraries together? How many are there of you?
4.
That's not too bad. Maybe more.
Delisa's, my best friend married Delisa's cousin.
Oh.
We were friends since we were 5.
See, that happened in my friend group too. That's so
Only
funny.
on Funny 820.
Oh, there we go.
Boom blue on the street, loose and complete under sky so smoky blue-gray.
Yes, Humble and Fred Show. Howard is not here. He'll be returning to the show on Monday after his golf vacation out in on the East Coast and at Cabot Links, where he is staying right in Cabot Links. So he's golfing there, he's staying there, and he's saying it's fantastic.
Beautiful Cabot Links.
Yeah. The food, the accommodation, the golf, it's really an experience of a lifetime.
Let's say it again. Cabot Links.
Cabot Links. Right.
He's staying there.
Yes, he is. He's not staying down the road.
He is not camping.
No. No, he's not. Philip, can you tell us a little bit about the Chambers plan? Oh, I'm sorry. Have I mixed them up? Oh, Gig Sky, I mean.
Okay, let's do
I'm
Gig
sorry.
Sky.
You do Gig Sky.
Absolutely.
Yes.
The Gig Sky World Plan has been introduced for eSIMs on the iPhone XS, XS Max, and XR. You know, that's one of those major advantages in buying a great iPhone like these new models, because you can travel around multiple continents around the world. So let's say you had to connect in France to fly to Russia, or no, Thailand. That's a great example. Or Japan. It means that you can use the same data, the one purchase that you have. And the World Plan is that advantageous. And then, of course, there's also those one-day 800 megabyte plans. I took advantage of that on my trip. And so it's one of the most efficient ways to use data abroad. It's Gig Sky. Don't forget, you can also get a free SIM, by the way, if you have an older phone. And for some folks with a Google Pixel eSIM, you're going to get that option, that new World Plan eventually. It's gigsky.com or humbleandfredradio.com. I prefer humbleandfredradio.com. Click on the Gig Sky banner.
Why, thank you. And the Chambers plan.
Yeah.
Isn't it a wonderful thing, Amanda?
Well, it's actually Canada's #1 plan for employee benefits. The Chambers plan is Canada's leading group benefit plan for firms with 1 to 100 employees. It's been protecting Canadian firms for over 40 years, so you know they know what they're doing. More than 30,000 small to mid-sized businesses choose, that's 30,000, not people, small to mid-sized businesses, choose the Chambers plan already to protect their employees with comprehensive group benefits, health and dental insurance. You need that. Your employees need that. Making it Canada's #1 employee benefits plan for small business, chamberplan.ca.
Very good. So the Sherp will be here in a few minutes. In fact, he's walking in the door.
Is he?
Seems odd not to have the dog barking this week when people walk in.
That's what's making it so quiet.
Yes. Yeah, that sharp bark that every so often gives you a bit of a start.
I didn't, it's taken me 3 days, and you saying that for me to even put that together.
Okay, before the Sherpa sits down, a few observations from the weekend. I know it's Wednesday, but I've been meaning to get this. They're timeless observations.
Okay.
Number one, I'm getting old. I get up the other morning at the Tin Palace, and I looked out in the little bay in front of me. There was guys fishing, and I thought, isn't that sweet? You know, it's just part of it. You get up, and it's beautiful, and the sun's shining off the water, and you see two guys in a boat fishing, and it's like, this is what it's all about. But then the one guy takes a cigarette out of his mouth and whips it into the lake.
Oh.
I'm telling you, if that's maybe 5 years ago, I'm out and running down to the shore, going at him.
Really?
But I didn't have the energy. It was weird, because I thought... I was going to yell something, and then I thought, no, because I don't want a confrontation right now. I mean, it's 7:15 in the morning or whatever it was. But I'm thinking, years ago, I would have been right down on my dock going, hey, buddy, what are you doing? You don't throw cigarettes in the lake.
Or anywhere, to be honest.
No, exactly, but in a beautiful lake.
But smokers, all the time you see a window go down and out goes the butt. And I think the hard part is we all have friends that are smokers who do that.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to call them out in the moment. You want to be like, great conversation. Oh, cool. Is that you do that? That's who you are? Cool. Right. Good to know.
So it's bad anywhere, but here's a guy enjoying the great outdoors fishing and then takes it. Yeah. But again, I said nothing, and Delise was there, and I said to her, I think I just threw a cigarette butt in the lake. And then she just sort of shook her head, and she was probably thinking, please don't go down there and turn this into something, which I didn't.
Good for you.
And I would, good for me. I was a little disappointed in myself. That's the point. It's like a few years ago I would have, but nothing's to be gained by it other than a confrontation.
Well, that's kind of the thing. I mean, but the other thing is, if you ever see that person, I don't know how many people are at your lake or how often you run into the same people, but there is the opportunity if you see him again, him or her, was it a him?
It was a him.
Yeah, if you see him again, to sort of say, hey, if you're going to smoke, how about next time you find a place to put your cigarette other than a fish's mouth or other than where I swim? or where my grandkids swim.
Exactly.
You know?
And then he gives me lip, and then I give him lip, and then it escalates, and then he's...
But it doesn't have to.
He's
Meet it with love. Meet it with love.
He's docking the boat. He's chasing me down the road.
He's throwing butts at you.
That's
He's throwing
Howard's
butts
version.
at me.
Howard 10 years ago. But I feel like if you just say, hey, if you do it from a place of hurt, and actually if it's 10 years later, then maybe it's even more potent. 10 years later, sorry, I was turning around and looking at a coffee, and 10 days later or whatever it is, and say, hey, you know what? I saw you last week. I noticed you did that, and I just want to say, my grandkids swim here, and it's not cool, and I didn't appreciate it. So if if you approach it that way rather than you butt thrower,
don't be a butt. Stop throwing butts.
Because it's embarrassing enough for that person, right?
Another observation I made. It's this time of the year, the sun is coming back across the lake where you can really enjoy beautiful sunsets. And it's just interesting. And I've thought this for a long time, and I get sucked into it the same way. The fascination with sunsets. Not really, but they're basically all the same. You know, like people just stop down. The sunset and run out on the dock, or you go and you sit in your chair and you watch the sunset. I mean, I've done it in Jamaica. I've done it a lot of places. It's just interesting that really, if you've seen, I can't say if you've seen one, you've seen them all, because you might see one drop behind a mountain. But up at our place, it's the lake with a line of trees, and the sun drops below the trees.
I have some. If I look at my phone right now, I have some from last weekend. Some photos.
What is that fascinating?
You know, it's that.
Because you could film it and just replay it, like.
Hey, honey, come on over. Let's remember that sunset from July.
Same sun, same solar system.
Yeah, but aren't they all uniquely different because of the haze and the...
Well, they can be. Oh, a good sunset tonight. It's a little bit different than last night.
That's a nice purple sky.
That cloud wasn't there last night.
It's true, though. But it's almost like humans gathering by a fire. We're just drawn to it. We can't help it. It's like one of the few constants. It's something our early ancestors did and the dinosaurs did before the asteroid came. You know, those types of things. So it's like there's something very primitive about just witnessing the majesty of,
I guess,
nature.
There's something, because it keeps them coming back.
But do you feel that way when you're watching a sunset, or are you like, are you like, oh no, actually it's beautiful and I'm
No, I do, but I no longer, especially up north, go out of my way. If I miss the sunset, I'm not upset but again, Dan Duran standing on my dock, whatever night it was, yelling something like, great balls of fire, and he was trying to get my attention. And then later he said, oh, you missed the sunset. I said, oh, did I? And he said, oh, yeah, it was spectacular tonight. And I said, oh, okay. Maybe I'll see it tomorrow night. You know, there's another one coming.
You missed it, the big event.
You missed it.
Dang.
Yeah.
The big sunset event.
It was a big orange thing, and it dropped below the tree line. You should have seen it.
And it comes back in 12 hours.
There is a thing when you live in a place with beautiful sunsets or sunrises where you do become complacent. So that shows that you're spending a lot of time, I think, at the Tin Palace. Because I feel like when I go to the cottage, the first one of the season, I'm like, oh, the majesty.
Right.
But when I lived in New Brunswick, that first year when I was a kid, we moved there. Every morning we would scream because we lived right on the St. John River, and the sun would come up over the St. John River, and we would scream every morning, "The sun, Mom, get a camera, the sun!" And we would scream. We have so many photo albums of for the 1989 photos of just sunrises.
Where I saw what's in Arizona, is it Sedona? Yeah, Sonoma is California, right?
Yes, Sedona is Arizona, yeah.
Some of those sunsets where the different rock formations, it hits it on different angles.
Yeah.
Now that's something new, right?
That's a new twist on the old story.
One other observation is I use the 407 to go up into the Kawarthas every weekend. More and more, I am seeing cars with darkened license plate holders.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
You have to almost be on top of the car to see the license plate number. They're like a dark gray, like you slide them up into the license plate holder.
Oh.
And I've noticed more and more of those, and I'm wondering, is that an attempt to fool the camera?
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
And does it work? And where do I get one?
Does it work? But and then I was torn. I'm thinking, boy, I mean, I'm running up this 407 bill. I pay. Why don't you pay? And then I'm thinking, should I try that? And then you're thinking that's theft. And then I'm thinking, yeah, but look at the money you could save. And then I'm thinking, well, that's not fair. Why should I or that person drive for free when everybody else is paying the freight? And you know, the road is such a fabulous convenience. It really is, even though can be pricey, but that's the whole point. They keep the price up to keep the traffic thin.
I've lived in this city for 19 years, and I've probably been on the 407 3 times. Yeah. Well,
you're lucky it's not part of. If I didn't use it, a 2-hour trip would be 2.5, 2 hours, 45 minutes. If I had to use the 401. So then I think, okay,
Right.
the trip across is 20, 22, 23 bucks, whatever it is. Is that worth it to me to not have the aggravation of sitting on the 401 at White's Road for 25 minutes?
To go where? To go to the Tim
The
Palace?
Kawarthas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you pay an extra $20 each way?
Yes.
Wow, really?
Yes.
That surprises me.
Why?
Because I thought you were so frugal.
Oh, that's Howard saying I'm frugal.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. Because I am. I don't think I would be like, nope. For $40, I'll sit in traffic.
We have been pulled over once on the 407 for this. So
For what?
For having a license plate cover. So 10 years ago, my mother drove a van, and so we had a light blue license plate cover. It wasn't supposed to be, shielding from the cameras or anything. We just wanted to protect the plate because it started peeling. And so we got pulled over by the OPP just outside our exit, and she said, well, you guys aren't trying to, steal from us. You're not trying to frame the 407 or anything like that, or commit fraud. And we're like, no, here's a family. Here's a 17-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 6-year-old with a mother. And so she's like, well, no, just take the plate cover off and we'll be fine. And so I'm assuming that there's enough OPP enforcement
What's
where
kids
that's
with the mother got to do with ripping off the 407? Lots of people would do that.
The officer looked into the car, right? And she trusted us enough that we weren't trying to scam them, right? Because it was a light blue hue. It wasn't meant to obstruct anything.
Right.
And so the thing is, I'm hoping that OPP enforcement still does this.
Yeah,
like
probably.
They're active around the road, making sure that people don't do that.
I mean, they'll pull you over for 2 days expired license. So I'm sure they'll pull you over for a gray license plate.
But not only that, I'm on the 407. I see these darkened license plate holders. As they go by me, I think I can't read that number.
That's the problem I have.
And
Is
the
safety and.
So the cops can't forget even if that plate was on a road that you don't have to pay for. If the police, if it's so dark, the police can't see the number. That's not fair either.
What if there's an Amber Alert and it's that license plate? Then that's their way of getting out of it.
So my next question would be, if they stop you and you have that, is it a warning like Phil got?
Yes.
Or if it's really dark and it's obvious, come on,
It can be a ticket, yes.
Let's be serious. I mean, these people are obviously trying to fool the camera.
Are you sure that's what it is? It's not some hip new fashion trend of gray plates?
Well, it just doesn't make sense. So, okay, I fashion trend of what? Having a dark license plate number where you can't see
Maybe.
Or a license plate holder where you can't see the numbers.
Because it's cool, like tinted windows, which I also have an issue with. But you know what? It's got to be to scam the 407 because I've never seen one, but I'm not on the 407.
And then I'm thinking, it's funny you don't hear about this more often. And then maybe they don't say anything about it because they don't want to put the idea in other people's heads.
Right.
So
like we are right now.
Well, I mean, yeah, we are, and I'm going to take the position that I would never do that, and it's not fair that you drive for free and I don't, because my little beeper goes off, and believe me, the bill adds up.
It's absurd now.
What goes around comes around. For me, actually, the pay thing, I don't even care. It's just the safety thing. And that's actually my thing with tinted windows, too. If there's somebody trying to get out of a car, you know, if somebody's in distress, kidnapped, whatever, woman, child, whoever, who's going to see them if they're in the back of a car with the tinted windows? Why are those things legal? I know, and there's a lot of people, my brother-in-law has them. There's a lot of people who have them. Also, I hate it when when I'm telling you to signal and I can't make eye contact with you. I'm telling you you can go, and the person's just sitting behind a wall of darkened Darth Vader black.
Right.
Hate it.
Anyway, I hope I'm not giving anybody any ideas, but
me neither.
And believe me, anybody that uses the 407 a lot has thought about it.
Hey.
They have thought about it. I've even thought of, to be less conspicuous before you left the house. Maybe you could make a little mud pie or something and flick it at a couple of the numbers on your plate, so that when you went by the camera, it couldn't make out those two numbers.
That's a caper boss.
And then if you were stopped, you could say, "Oh my goodness, I drove through a mud area."
Oh, I didn't know I was mudding with my truck. I'm from New Brunswick. I'm going mudding.
So just sitting down at the table now is our good friend, our sweet friend, the retirement Sherpa, Tim Niblett.
Yeah.
Hello, Timothy.
Good morning, Frederick. How are we doing?
Not bad. How are you doing?
Not as well as Howard, but I did stay to Best Western last night, so I got that going for me. You didn't ask him about the body lotion. I was a little disappointed about that.
Oh, right.
They got to have top quality body lotion at that place.
Oh, isn't that? You know what?
Lotion.
I'm glad you said that, because that will be part of Monday's show when he talks about how spectacular it was. Live in studio, I'll ask him.
I
about
love
the lotion.
soap. I'm a soap stealer. All my soap in my house right now is stolen from the Hilton Buena Vista Springs.
Tim, were you listening early in the week when I told the story about... I got my Howard trips mixed up, and I thought this was the trip where he wasn't staying at the expensive hotel, and he was going to go down the street. That way he could avoid staying with a snorer, right?
I did hear that. I did hear that. I heard most of Monday, including Amanda saying nice things. Thank you very much for that. Tuesday, I was busy all day. My assistant's off well-deserved holiday, Deborah, and her parting gift to me was packing me with appointments morning, noon, and night. So I thankfully was super busy with great people yesterday. So.
Anyway, I told that story, and as you heard this morning, Howard totally discounted it. I was wrong.
But you guys had fun with it?
Oh, we had fun with it, yes. We did. But I'm a hard-hitting newsman. I like to have my my facts straight.
Fake news, Fred?
Yeah, right.
Okay, this morning, why you should have one advisor as opposed to what? 2 advisors? 3 advisors?
Some people, 2 advisors, 3 advisors, 4 advisors more, or however that poem goes there, right? Thanks, Phil. Most of the people I have as clients are solely with me. And really, from the client point of view, it's just better for them to find the right person that's the right fit that can coordinate everything for them, right? Think of it. If you've got 2, not many have 3 that I know of, but... then you got twice as many meetings or 3 times as many meetings and 3 times or twice, whatever, as many statements and more stuff to coordinate, more stuff to keep. So for the client themselves, it's just a heck of a lot more work, and we have a hard time getting people in sometimes as it is. I don't know how people would find time to do that as well, but some do. Again, many don't with mine, but it's just not in the client's best interest, I don't think.
And you're talking about people who are with 2 different companies, like 2 different advisors, or all within the umbrella of one company?
No, often, I mean, where I have leakage or whatever would be if somebody has some money with a bank or something like that, right? Because they've got the relationship with the bank. They go there regularly. One day they were running late on the RSP contribution, so they just made it there, or whatever the reasoning is, right? But thankfully, virtually all are 100% with me. And so then I can coordinate things a lot better, right? Yeah. So again, this is in the client's best interest. If you go to 3 different doctors, 3 different golf pros, 3 different whatever, drama teachers, you're going to get different advice from each of them, and they're not all going to know how everything all works together in that as well. So many a time you're not only are you taking too much effort, but it's less effective effort too.
Yeah, and that whole conflict thing. What if you're getting different advice from different people?
Well, that's just it. You want to kind of centralize it. I know as an actor, I actually have 4 different agents, but 3 of them are all under the same house, all under the same agent house. And I did that intentionally. Could have gone to whatever, because I have a voice and acting, whatever. But it's important for me to have them all in the same house so that when I'm, like you said, scheduling, if I'm booking out, it's one email, not two, not three kind of thing. And that might not seem like a big thing in this conversation, but I can assure you further down the road, it really does become, I can imagine, a real conflict. No, you want to centralize that, and then you two are on the same page. I'm with you on that.
Well, and the whole deal is, if the relationship isn't good enough to be 100% with somebody, you should certainly consider a different relationship,
yeah,
right?
Fair enough, yeah.
And that's cool. Everybody's not the right fit for everybody, right? I know it's hard to believe, but not everybody loves me, right? And that's okay. Like the ones that do, then the better fit it is for you, then the harder you work for the people as well. Everybody wins that way.
Well, I find that hard to believe. That
just ask Lorna.
No, here's the deal too. It's how does somebody know what that relationship should be? Like, somebody might.
That's tough.
That's what I'm saying. So somebody might not have a good relationship with their advisor, but they know no different, right? So they think that's what it is. Maybe, not the proper contact, or, they don't, not enough engagement. But if it's your first advisor and your first experience, it's, is there a handbook or something where, no, seriously, where you could cross-check or know that you could have better service, like it's out there?
It is very hard for people to tell, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there should be a template, and there is to some degree, as far as, as I've said many times, you start with a plan and how does a portfolio. That's why it's good for people to at least get a second opinion on things, right? If they're uncertain about the relationship they've got, or they have a relationship that isn't good enough to have everything in one place, they should get a second opinion and see if somebody else does have a little better engagement, like you say, a little better portfolio methodology, whatever the efficiencies are and all. And think of it too, if every client of mine only had half of their money with me, I'd have to have twice as many clients too, right?
Right.
And you can't give the same level of service to twice as many people. So again, it's just in the client's best interest to do it that way. But you're right, Fred, it's really hard to, what do we do when we buy something we don't know much about? We just look at the price. And so that even happens in our industry a little bit as well. It's hard for people to know what to expect.
This week, Hong Kong has been in the news, and I don't know if there's any correlation or any connection. Phil Hong has been giving the Hong Kong report.
Oh, yeah.
The Hong.
And then I heard on the way in, Hong Kong is on the verge. And of course, that's tied to China. We know what's going on. Something like that. How do you handle that? Or what do you think? Or do you have to project or predict or take any measures? Or do you react?
Certainly don't react.
Right.
I don't know if AIC funds still exist, and if they do, I apologize. They probably do. Michael Lee Chin started them up decades ago. Very successful man and company. They used to have a great ad. They had this a TV ad, and it just had all this noise about headlines in Hong Kong this and shark attack that or whatever. And it just said, hey, when you're investing, you're in it for the long run, if that's what your goal is, right? Sometimes you have short term. But, you just don't listen to the noise. So at the end of the day, what happens in Hong Kong on a Monday doesn't really affect whether Colgate-Palmolive is a profitable company or not.
Right.
And you got to, can't lose sight of that.
Yeah. Although part of...
It can turn into something
well,
else. There's no doubt about that. You have to be cognizant of that. Right now, the bigger concern is just the U.S.-China trade war.
Right.
So Trump says some placating thing about, sending it out a little bit later before the tariffs will kick in, I think December 15th, whatever, for the next round, and then all of a sudden the market's up 2% for the
Well,
day.
that's it.
So,
And that's what I mean. That's the upside of it all.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like that thing. A little bit of a storm can lead to much better things down the road.
There's a billion moving parts in the markets on any given day, and a lot of them are emotional because human beings are involved.
Right.
So it's certainly not a totally logical thing. So, boy, you can try to time things, you can try to react, but that could be old news the next day, right? So it's just much, much better to have the plan, have the right portfolio to make that plan, have the right investments that you can stick with, that mix and match properly, that you don't have to worry about that headline there. We sometimes react, but very rarely.
Well, good to know. And Tim will be back next Wednesday Tim is a portfolio manager. Raymond James, a member of the Canadian Investors Protection Fund. We always like to get that in. And Tim is available at retirementsherpa.ca if you'd like to talk to him. Maybe, again, as you said, even for a second opinion.
Absolutely. If everything they're doing is right, then giddy up. They'll feel that much better about things too, right? So I had two ladies check in independently of each other at the end of the day yesterday. So must be Amanda fans, and that's why they checked in, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh,
very
great.
cool.
I can understand.
Well,
Once I got the Amanda seal of approval, I mean, that's really that's going to send things to the next level, I think.
Well, I'm really excited for our upcoming meeting that we now that we're both back and settled that we can schedule. I'm looking forward to a profitable fall.
All right, you guys, you know what? You're in good hands.
I look forward to seeing whoever's here next week.
Okay, after 8 o'clock, John Gallagher, Spike Gallagher, he's in the house right now. Funny 820, Humble and Fred Show, Twitch TV.
It's called Luca, which is in the Tuscan area. So I bought it from
Radio.
No, this is more. This is the frugalness vehicle.
Well, sure. I'll hold just a second. Tim's still here. I have a phone call. Tim, I have someone on the phone who's looking for you. For Tim. You want to? I'll be one second here. Tim's coming right now.
Last week. Oh, we're killing us all.
For some reason, he called during the segment.
Good morning, it's Tim.
Okay, we'll talk about that. John, pleasure.
I was going to go to the phone, but I didn't want to interrupt. I didn't know if it was about, because if it was something non-Tim related, it's like, I don't like this.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
Because this is the first time I've ever filled in so Humble. When you were off on vacation
Right.
all those years ago.
Right.
I was at Dundas Square. Jack Astor's overlooking where your studios used to
Right.
be. And what a shithole that was. The old studios at CFNY? Dundas.
Why were they shitty?
It was just like just a beat up old area of the city.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I can't say I do one every
Like
week,
the
so we
Edge.
can
Yeah, well,
facilitate
our
the
street
charitable
studio?
foundation.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought
maybe
I
it
didn't
doesn't
think they were
that
bad
complicated,
studios.
But
Yeah.
it's pretty good. We can help them.
Or are we?
I think I'm thinking of the same place.
Or did you go and? Oh no, they were beautiful.
Well, the studios weren't bad, but the area.
Oh, the area.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I see what
Just
you're
a
saying.
beat up Dundas and
Yeah,
whatever.
young and Dundas. Yeah, before.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah, we
fun.
moved there in
First
'96
before,
before they started to revitalize
That's
that
right.
area.
Yeah. It was a little scary getting in there sometimes.
A very
Stepping over bodies.
So are you still doing any of that next stars with?
No.
Can we talk about that?
Oh, you bet.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Frank.
As long as
No,
it doesn't
I
come and
come
try and
across
kill
the-
us.
But
Huh?
BMW
sounds great.
stole
What's
it
your name?
from a detailing place, right?
When?
Checking in there.
March. So I just said, I'm not going to drive. I'm not going to take an Uber all the way out to Dixie and
Oh, right.
Eglinton. So, no, you got to be in the studio. So I said, I'm on the phone. You've heard of Skype. You know, everyone does Skype.
No,
No, you gotta
I
go
do
to-
Skype from my freaking trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries at all.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that.
Frank is,
You're the
yeah,
first
he's
one
a
ever
required
calling
taste.
directly to the show, though, for me.
Yeah.
Thank you for the milestone there. 9:05.
Well, I can't be too.
Here, have a seat.
You'll have a shot.
Oh, no. You're bloody right.
Oh, yeah.
Howard and I went a few years
got
ago
2
and had
minutes.
lunch with him, right? And he wouldn't sit with his back to the door.
You showed me that. You
Good, we're up and down
We
right
talked
now.
about that last time I was
Always
there.
happens later in the week.
At the
Everyone
Christmas
wakes up
show.
on Monday.
You put the
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm in.
Is there
Yes, no, because we're on 820.
Okay, because Frank is like,
Fuck, sucker, fucking fuck.
Yeah. Put the headset on. Let's adjust the mic away because John
Louder than me. Okay.
projects.
so we're just going to talk about anything, right?
Anything.
And I forget your name.
I'll just lead the way.
Amanda.
Amanda, that's right.
I'm
Oh, that's
gonna.
right.
Hi, John.
Good to see you, my friend.
Great to see you.
Off the top, this is Sean. Have you met Sean?
Sean, you okay with the camera? Just make sure.
I don't hear anything.
Camera check. Oh, it's because we're still on break.
Okay.
So I just put everything on cue.
Okay.
That's great. That's so great.
Okay, we got less than a minute.
I ain't going down late. I gotta send you an email. I'll send you an email today.
So, just talk about anything? Yeah, I'll lead the way. You know what I'm saying? Off the top, I'm just going to ask you what you've been doing.
Sure, yeah.
Screen print and ringside.
Got it.
Amanda, screen print and ringside.
I got
So
it.
he's got you got ringside? Are you comfortable with it?
I got ringside.
Are you comfortable with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the most downloaded podcasts in the country is now on the radio.
I think I'll do it halfway through.
This is Humble and Fred.
Humble and Fred show this week without Humble. We heard from him from Cabot Links earlier in the show, just after 7 o'clock. He's having a great time. He'll be back on Monday. Phil's here, Amanda's here, Sean is here. And then yesterday we were thinking, oh, I'd like to have a guest, or we had a guest and that guest bailed, so at the last minute I thought, I'd still like to have a guest, and who can I have? And I thought, I got to go to my A-list. Johnny, I'm telling you the truth. I said, I'll go to my A-list, and I scroll through, and there's Johnny Gallagher, see if he'll come in so we could catch up. So,
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, Spike Gallagher, John Gallagher, you know him from Q107 years ago, and City Pulse News, or whatever they called it back then. And
Yeah, but when you didn't need a program to find out who the hell's doing the news at night, right?
No, exactly.
I don't know who's doing it now.
But anyway, welcome John Gallagher.
Woo, yeah. Hello. What do you know, Freddie P? I saw you standing alone. How are you, buddy?
Very good.
Usually I'm filling in for you because back in the day,
right?
Back in the salad years,
yes.
Humble would, you'd be off.
I'd go on holidays, yes.
I'd fill in for you during sports in the
Yes.
mornings. It was just the best time. And because of the music at CFNY on the Edge, that got me through the day. Now, I worked at Q, and, I just play enough Bob Seger and the Stones and Elton John.
Yeah.
But you guys had, like, Elvis Costello and Squeeze and Roxy Music. Man, it was the music that filled my youth. you
No,
know?
and that was great back then because in the earlier days, it was Humble and Fred, and I did the sports, and then you were at Q doing the sports with what, more than one morning show? How many morning shows?
Jake Edwards, and then Jesse and Gene.
Right.
And then Jake again, and then Scruff Connors.
Right.
Rest in peace. And then Jake again.
Yes.
And then it was so funny. I was coming down the stairs, and the Ted Smith, the owner of Q107 and all the stations. Hi, John. Could you stick around for a little while? Why? We have a news conference at 10 o'clock. By the way, you're fired, and Howard Stern starts on Monday.
Oh,
I'm like,
right.
oh, come on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was
on the
part of it.
stairs.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He had his overnight bag. He came in from the airport. By the way, I'd like you to stick around for the news conference to announce you're being fired with Jake and Donna Saker and Jane Brown. Oh, Humble. I'm sorry, Howard
Phil,
Stern.
you're writing that volume good. Remember, this is John Gallagher on site here now.
Absolutely working on it.
All right.
I was promised there'd be no shouting. It is 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. So.
Yeah, that you got, that whole Howard Stern thing, it affected you, obviously, as you just described. It also affected Howard and I because, well, it was a novelty thing, right? You bring Howard Stern into the market, everybody had to check it out to see what this was all.
Right.
And it hurt us. And if any station was going to lose listeners to that style of radio, Howard Stern, it was going to be us.
Right.
Oh,
And
I never thought of that.
Right.
Oh, dead on.
Yeah. Like you weren't leaving Aaron Davis to listen to Howard Stern.
Good point. Good point. Same demo, in other words. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
And he took about a third of our audience off the top, but quickly we got it back. But I'll tell you, you talk about meetings. We had a few meetings, like even right beside the studio, there was a hotel room. We went in there one day and around a big board meeting, and we had to decide why, or come up with the answers why CFNY listeners or Edge listeners were so quick and why it was so easy for them to leave Humble and Fred to listen to Howard Stern. How are we going to figure this out?
Yeah, hey, we're over here. We're still here. Hello. Hello.
And the funny thing was, you know what it was like back in those days to try and get any type of free publicity or media. It was tough, but Howard Stern coming to Toronto was the front page of the Toronto Star, the Toronto Sun. It was like, this is what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
But anyway, it came and went. Exactly. And John, you spent how many years at City?
Yeah, well, see, that's a funny thing, Freddie, because I had a gig at night. I mean, I'd sleep on a dime, and Gary Dunford was going, how is he doing it, doing Q107 in the morning, and then City TV at night. I just, sleep all afternoon, and then, like 4 or 5 hours. So I had a gig at night, so that was good. But other people, it really affected a lot of lives when Howard came in.
Yeah.
And Robin Quivers would laugh at everything. Like, what did you have for dinner last night, Howard?
Yeah.
Oh, I had asparagus. Oh, Howard, you're the funniest. Asparagus. Shut up.
And then it's true.
You know.
Listen. Listen.
And let's see how traffic is on the New Jersey Turnpike. Yeah, we care about that at Young and Bloor, right? Come on.
It's funny you say that. Not to jump all over the place, but what's happening to the radio industry on some levels, not all. This morning we get word that the morning show in Vancouver, Willie and Dilly or something.
Oh my God! Please tell me it is Willie and Dilly.
Oh, that'd be
great. I don't know. It's Willie and something.
Are they all willy-nilly?
I like Willie and Dilly.
In Vancouver, starting in after Labor Day, will also be the morning show in Calgary.
Come on!
I'm telling you.
Wow.
So there's a major market, Calgary. Now we'll have a morning show out of Vancouver. And this is Chorus Entertainment, and it's like, over the years, how you're schooled with, it's all about local.
Oh, yeah.
You got to be local.
Not at all. Nope.
Until we want to save money.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And I just, to me, I find that appalling.
Yeah.
But that's what's happening.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say people in Calgary should find it appalling that you're driving to work and you're having to listen to what's happening in Vancouver on Granville Island in Victoria. Like, that's insane. Can you imagine if that was us and we had to listen to what's happening in Montreal every morning?
Ooh, boy.
Brutal.
And even Howard Stern went into Montreal, too, for a year or so.
Well, when Howard and I first started doing this, the people at Rogers had the idea we would do the morning show from Etobicoke for Kingston. And there was a lot of pushback with that.
Sure.
We understood ultimately.
Right.
You know, and then finally they said, hey guys, you know, we tried this experiment, but people want local.
Right.
And who's doing the sports on the Vancouver morning show?
Yeah.
No one.
Yeah.
That's what kills me about sportscasters. You and I were like killing it, and we had. I mean, it was pretty. It was pretty big competition. You had Hodge, you had Henderson, you had who's the guy on CFRB? The guy was there for Stevenson. You and I, and we do split shifts. Remember those days?
Oh, yeah.
But now they're killing sportscasters off. It's the stupidest thing ever. I golfed with Joe Tilley last week.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, we're doing a golf tournament in Cuba coming up. If I
really?
may, yeah. It's go to suitsandsandals.com. We're going to Cuba, Joe and I, all in. It's quite an event. Anyway,
wait a minute. Is this one of these things where you're tied up with a tour operator?
That's right.
Hang on. Suits and Sand. Can you just give that to us again so we have that for everybody?
Thank you. You're
Suits
Amanda.
and
Amanda Hug and Kiss.
That's me.
That's my girl.
Suits
it's
and Sandals.
Suits and Sandals Travel. John Gallagher, Joe Tilley, golfing, all inclusive.
This is your travel company?
No. It's just a.
You're tied up with a travel company.
I am so.
So you guys go for free, and then you get people to buy their way
and
in, right?
Bingo was his name. Oh, no,
I love those deals.
Yeah,
This is great.
Well, Joe got canned around Christmas along with Lance Brown. I mean, there's Jim Taddy, Mark Hebscher, Jim McKinney, Catherine Humphreys, John Gallagher. He was good. All gone. Why don't they fire the weathermen? They've got the Weather Network. This Tom Brown guy in CFTO was a game show host,
Was he?
He's not even a meteorologist, for goodness sakes. He's like, well, dogs and cats falling from the sky and frogs landing hey, but look at this mountain of toys. Fire the weathermen. Keep the sportscasters on. There's not a sports. You look at the Buffalo station, Freddie, and kids, and Amanda. And Sean.
Phil.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Nice work, by the
Every
way.
time they be no name tags. You know, you watch the Buffalo stations. There's a person down at the Sabres practice. There's a person at the Bills thing. There's a Bison reporter and an anchor. 4 sportscasters.
Right.
We have none.
No,
They've
I know.
killed us all off, and it's just flabbergasting.
No, I know. And the excuse is with the specialty channels, if people want their sports, they'll go there. But, again, it's just, there's a lot of pressure on the broadcasting companies, with the split revenues now going to online. And, I mean, there are reasons behind it.
Right.
But it's hard to accept sometimes.
Speaking of split, it was a crazy time when Rogers and Bell bought CP24 and slashed it in the middle with City TV.
Yeah.
And we have cameramen, coming in with a tape. Who do I give it to? Who's going to run this? The Rogers side or the Bell side? It was the stupidest thing I've ever seen, right?
Right.
And we're still in the same newsroom.
Yeah.
So it was just all, speaking of willy-nilly.
No, I know the landscape, I mean, it's changing so quickly, and so many victims through it. Again, I go back to Calgary. I mean, there was probably people lined up thinking, that Calgary job's open. Morning show in Calgary?
Right.
Yeah, I want that job. No, it's gone.
Yeah.
That is gone. And apparently Chorus as well in Ottawa. The afternoon drive show at Jump Radio or something is syndicated out of Seattle. It's not even Canadian.
In Ottawa.
Yeah.
There's one guy in St. Louis, I was told, he does like 34 stations.
Yeah.
Right.
He does middays, and he's broadcast at 34 different stations. Just different IDs, different, And you didn't, well, if I may say so, didn't you move away? I think it was Peterborough you moved away.
Yes, I did. I was a program director in Peterborough.
Yeah. And
Yes.
you'd only see your wife and kids on the weekends.
Yes.
And then you give that commitment to these people, and then how long into the gig?
Yeah,
I don't want to bring up.
But no. But to be fair, I mean, I didn't like being a manager.
Okay.
You know what I like doing this.
Yeah.
And
You're great.
and it was very tough
Yeah.
to be a manager of people that were doing a job that you wanted to do and felt you could do it better, and there should have been more passion.
Right.
That was my problem there.
Right.
But anyway, so John Gallagher is not on the radio and he's not on television. How does that happen with the sports? Given your profile and your love of sports and your how did you never end up like at the Fan or TSN?
And it's not like I didn't apply for these jobs.
You're acting like
Huh?
Look, how did that not?
No.
What is wrong with you, John?
No,
I'm talent of your.
I'm saying I run those stations.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I want some flamboyancy. I want some fun. Sports isn't all serious. I want that.
Energy.
You
want energy.
For a few hours a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
So what do you think it was? What'd you do?
Well, you know what? I was with Moses, and exactly what did you do? Now, what did you do
exactly?
What did you do?
I did write a book while I was off.
We're gonna get to that.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Moses Neimer bought a magazine. He bought Carp, and he turned it into Zoomer magazine.
Right.
And when you'd walk out into the parking lot, the blood would be hemorrhaging all from the magazine.
Right.
And we'd be like stepping on the, trying to get her. I was fired the same day as Conrad Black and Denise Donlin.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because he just had to, Moses had to cut, had to cut some ties, and I was expendable because it was a 4-man morning show, 4-man and woman morning show. So
okay, you're talking about Zoomer Radio.
Zoomer Radio, that's right.
Zoomer.
So that was pretty good. I mean, and I did classical 96.3 on the weekends because nothing says Mozart and Tchaikovsky like John freaking Gallagher. I mean, really. It's 8:12, and I saw Conrad, and he's walking, or the walk of shame to his car. I go, "Hey, Connie!" You don't call him that, Sir Conrad. He goes, "Harump, harump! I didn't get a harump out of you." I said, "Let's say, we all got, we all got fired today. Let's go to your place up on the bridle path. We'll get Barbara a meal into a little 2-piece, a little red number. We'll get a kegger and have a party." You didn't laugh.
Sounded like a plan.
Yeah, I know. Barbara meal and a 2-piece.
The three of you? She's like, why am I wearing this? Whose idea was this? Oh, who invited John?
Exactly.
I'll tell you, not often, but sometimes traditionally, years gone by. 6 o'clock, I love Gordon Martineau, Ann Murskowski, and Jim McKinney, and You at Night. And now the odd time I'll turn that on. and it's like, wow.
Me too, buddy.
Such a great property, such a great franchise, and the solid talent they have, and what it is now. And I listen. It's the people that work there. It's not their fault, but it's just what it was and what it is now. Someone that was part of it, like you must just.
I can't watch. It's unwatchable. And Freddie and folks. Freddie and Friends.
Freddie and Friends. You can't, that's us. That's the name of
they
us.
don't even have anchors anymore. They're just they all throw little live eyes all across and the collection of characters we had at City TV during the years. You mentioned Gordon and McKinney and Bruskowski, but Catherine Humphreys and Peter Silverman, Jojo Chinto, Teresa Roncon,
Peter Gross.
Now Peter and I are talking about doing a nice podcast.
Well, why don't you?
We should. It's just a matter of time. It's.
Look at this facility. It's here for your use.
In my mind, I'm already there.
Talk to Howard.
I was talking to Gross. I've been talking to him too. He's going to come in a couple of weeks. Him and Jim McKinney are down in Saratoga right now.
They are so, and they're back at the end of the month. They're betting on the horses, and down the stretch they come.
Okay, before we move on, let's do some business, as they say.
Yeah.
Where are we at? Strain Print. Phil,
tell
us about Strain Print.
Well,
these are sponsors that we have to support this endeavor.
Not my first rodeo. I love this show. I do the Christmas show every year, and thanks for bringing me on, and thanks for having me
You
back.
want to come back next year? We're already booking.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, I was on with Wendell
You're
Clark.
not going away. We're just breaking for sponsors.
Oh, I'm quite aware. Oh, I'm just settling in.
Okay.
Strain Print. Use cannabis better with the free Strain Print companion app that will help you learn how much more rewarding and beneficial your experience with cannabis that can be. There are thousands of strains out there, and people like you can treat marijuana differently, and so it's an app where you can track and record your own experiences along with other people. It can be easily downloaded. Strain Print for free on the Apple and Google Play Store, and don't forget strainprint.ca. What a fascinating subject, marijuana and how you use it.
Yeah. And speaking of marijuana, if you're wondering if you should use it, if you have medical questions about marijuana and more, then you should really contact ringsideclinic.ca. That's Ringside MD. It's healthcare in your corner. Ask about the Peace of Mind plan. You can check it out and all of this at Ringside Clinic at Facebook, Instagram at Ringside Clinic. It's Dr. Alkesh Patel. He's a great guy. You know him well. He's a member of our family now here at Humble and Fred. He's just a regular dude and a family doctor, and he's the founder of Ringside MD's clinic in Burlington. He was here this week talking about the stresses of becoming a new father and how Ringside MD can help fathers new and old. So you can listen back to that, but definitely check him out at ringsideclinic.ca.
Thank you, Amanda. Our guest this morning, John Gallagher. How are we with the mic? And how close it is to John's
we can move it away a little bit, and they'll be fine.
You want me to do that? No problem.
Just a little bit, okay.
You know, the good thing about you and I is we were competitors back in the day.
Yes.
And we were just the best friends.
Yes.
You know, when I got my hair transplant, you did a commentary that just kicked ass. It was the funniest thing anyone's ever heard. You know, because I was going in and they had to take the hair from the back of my head, and it was on 2020 with Barbara Walters.
Okay,
And Fred's like, I have a great idea. Why don't they take it from my
that's right,
nether regions?
Yeah,
I can donate the hair from my ass to Gallagher's head.
That was fun.
I'm playing with Barbara Walters' dogs, right? And I'm about to go on 2020, and all of a sudden I see Peter Jennings run by, right? So they did the piece, and they followed me around for years. The hair grew in like a chia pet, and actually they would take shots, and the hair would actually grow, and they'd splice it all together.
You would never know. That's crazy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then Peter Jennings runs by, and Barbara goes at the end of the piece when I'm on. She goes, "A hair-raising report. Babies are bald, and they're the cutest. Why?" And then all of a sudden, John can't be with us live on TV right now because we have to go to the World Trade Center. This is 1993 now. 93, the first one when Al Qaeda blew up the North Tower to domino into the South Tower. It didn't work. But I see Peter Jennings run by. I'm like, what the hell? This is something you don't see every day, right? So that's my little Barbara Walters story.
That's amazing. What an amazing story.
Yeah, I know. I was just going in for a little touch-up, right, to connect the Gordie Howe Island, the Phil Collins Island, with the mainland. And then they followed me around. It was an $88,000 U.S. operation.
Oh, wow.
$88,000 for this.
You got the good ones.
I got the
Cadillac of transplants. That's amazing.
That's worth $88,000?
Yeah.
Can you sell it?
Yeah.
Well, with your donation, I think we could probably make some money together, Fred. You're lucky. Look at that head of hair you got.
No, I know. I got that from my father. Haven't lost anything. And you know, my brother has a full head of hair, too. He's 69 and not one gray hair.
Makes a huge... Not one gray.
No.
Wow, now that's something else. That's amazing.
But see, you had hair problems. I have other problems, right? Prostate problems, and we all have our issues, right?
Are you okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Yeah,
he's all right.
Yeah, I had surgery last year. It's all looked after, Johnny.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, getting up 4 or 5 times in the night to pee and all that. Oh, but hey, we don't want to talk about my problems.
Now he's a champ. He's got a terp.
Yeah.
At our age, the only time I'm not peeing is when I'm peeing.
Yeah.
Oi. And I let the dog out, too, so I got a little chocolate lab. Right. It's like, while I'm out there, just, go in the bush. No. It's a
Jesus
joke.
Christ.
It's amazing how much you pee when you get old. I swear to God, I peed 30 times yesterday. I was at work for a long time.
Drinking lots of water?
I mean, I was. It's more the coffee. Once I break the coffee pee seal, that's it. That's worse than vodka, man. That's it.
Do you? No, I don't want to ask you, Amanda, but
No,
you
you can ask
ever on a long road trip and you're stuck in traffic? Do you ever have to go in a Gatorade bottle and look at that Gatorade bottle and go, "Oh my goodness, there's a lot of tinkle in there"?
Dude, I had to do it once on a bus in Malaysia.
Shut up!
Yeah, no, it was in the back. I was in the back seat, and this bus had no shocks in it, so it was like ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. I was purple down from the waist down.
I got a story like that.
Do you tell me yours?
I like a funny story.
I like pee-pee.
Back in the early 2000s, when I had my back issues, I was literally incapacitated for a period of time, in bed, couldn't get out. When I had to urinate, my wife would bring me a plastic bottle. I would lean to the side, pee in the bottle. She would have to take it and dump it. Is that not love? Yeah.
That's love.
That's love. Uh-huh.
Where would she dump it? Would she dump it outside or in the toilet?
Why would she dump it outside?
I don't know. I always feel like you put it in the plants
so
or something.
let me get this straight. Instead of just walking over to the toilet and dumping it, she would go downstairs, walk out the front door.
You know why?
Why would she do that?
Because whenever I have an extra, if I have like this at home, I take it and I dump it in the plants. So whenever I think of a bottle of water or even water I haven't drank, even if it's iced tea, I usually dump it in the plants.
So you had a pot to piss in, but you'd have a window to throw it out?
No, it was like a 2-liter pop bottle, and I was lucky because my clank would fit right in the end of it.
Your clank?
Yeah.
Not much of a clank if it would fit in the...
That's the joke.
It was a clink. It was a clink.
Yeah.
Or a clunk.
I've never heard that described that way.
What, your clank?
My clank.
That's 820 appropriate terms.
Is that like a Mr. Goo? Was it Mr. Poohead or Goohead?
Goohead, John.
Oh my goodness, Poohead.
Let's get the characters straight.
That's right. That was legendary, Freddie P.
Mr. Poohead.
Mr. Poohead is his oft-forgotten cousin.
Yeah, because we were against each other, so I hardly heard the morning
I
show.
understand that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but Poohead,
Goohead, that was the days that on Q when Jake was doing the champ.
That's right.
And those were fun, competitive
Weren't they,
days.
Though?
Huh?
Oh my God!
No, they were.
Oh, they were. And again, I'm I've been kind of in semi-retirement now, so I'm not even to listen to any morning show.
No, and a lot of these morning shows, they try to have fun. It doesn't seem that genuine, and and not the kind of fun we had. A little more raw, a little more down to earth,
right?
A little more real.
That's why people tuned in.
No, I know.
No, you're dead on, buddy.
I know we're living the glory days by the campfire, but the truth is as a listener back then, the truth is there you can hear it when it's real. People want real stories and real connection. You can hear it when it's real, and you can hear it when it's not, and that's why people are turning off, and that's why Vancouver or Calgary now has Vancouver's news or whatever it is, because if you're
morning
not,
show.
Yeah, well, even worse, because you're not connecting. If people aren't connecting, if it's all generic, then what's the point?
I would think they probably have their own morning Calgary newscast and just
Oh,
fill
no,
in.
no.
Absolutely. They'll just, just the talent's coming from Vancouver, right?
They better. We'll know the industry's in trouble when they have traffic reports from Vancouver and Calgary.
That's right. It's like, yeah. Even worse if Edmonton was broadcasting to Calgary. That'd be like,
yeah, totally.
This is
rivalries.
This is obviously a sign of things to come too, because you know what it's like. The whole copycat thing. It's like sort of reluctant to do this, but boy, if Chorus is doing it, maybe we can do it.
Totally.
Yeah.
I was in Chorus 2-3 weeks ago. It is like a ghost town in there. It is like tumbleweeds in there.
My.
Yeah.
Really?
It's amazing. Yeah, going into that morning show and stuff. It's like, I'll just let myself in. There's nobody, not even interns.
No,
it's
I know.
amazing.
And we used to bounce off the walls down there, believe me.
Yeah.
After a morning show, you didn't even want to go home.
Yeah.
Seriously.
No.
We just all hung out, all of it. It was great.
I love it.
But enough, we're going to move on from that.
Okay.
Because those were the fun, glory days.
Glory days.
And they're gone, and we can't have them back.
Okay.
Stop talking about it, guys.
How are things? How are the ratings at humbleandfredradio.com?
Are you kidding? It's the most successful radio show in the history of radio, John.
Well, I'm glad I asked.
Funny 820, Canada's comedy superstation. Our guest this morning is John Gallagher. You can watch John on Twitch TV. There he is. And Facebook Live. We'll be back after the break with more Spike.
Aces.
Facebook just keeps going.
You mind if I get a little water?
No. Oh, there we go.
How much time we got?
You got about 5. You're going to find volume delays along all your
I don't know what to do with that.
I just keep trying to ride it, so that's good.
Seriously, take the thing. Like I knew that was going to happen.
Now the downtown radio
That's
is
okay.
slow to get onto the QEW.
Actually,
I'm taking a look at the Toronto-bound
Like,
QEW.
we have another mic
First, we do
stand.
have an issue in
maybe
St.
I'm
Catharines. As you get
can't
past
hear it
Glendale,
anymore.
we have a
You
crash.
know?
The point is, it'll settle down a bit on the podcast.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like the way I'm pushing the
In a way, it's better than Bill's yesterday.
He's a good
Yeah, at least
delivery
it's
so
not consistently in the red.
Yeah. Do you got that? You got that website? Sorry to
Yeah, I put up the picture.
Bogies and Stogies?
I put up the actual promo.
Get that plugged for him.
Super sale. Save big, leave happy. I'm Alexis Spiger, your all-day traffic
Thanks for
watch
putting that up.
continues.
That's really nice.
Yeah, no
I put
problem. Yeah.
the
Studio manager.
actual
We're here to plug,
promo
man. We're here to plug.
the brochure page up.
Oh, right on.
But did you know you can
check it
also
out
rent
for
the
you.
studio? The HNS studio is available for
Yeah,
audio
we need
recording
more
and
specific.
production.
Specific with it in terms of
Where do I
This
have
helps
this
bring
thing
you
with
to
the
his
edit
messages.
here?
With your experience and wealth of knowledge in
Facebook,
media,
Twitch?
the production
Yeah,
team at Humble and Fred are here to serve you.
twitch.tv/Humble and Fred Radio.
humbleandfredradio.com.
Or
Visit our
anyway,
website,
Or just on the Facebook page and we're on there live.
As a property,
We're everywhere.
freedom to choose, freedom to change, freedom to kick back and watch while a bunch of other guys do all the work. Choose Freedom Construction when you need general contractors who take care of all the details.
Okay, so our advertising, we still have Freedom left.
Freedom and clear.
Mark Saltzman just sent me his package for Monday.
Oh, he's coming in Monday?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's just back to school stuff.
Do you have clear? Okay,
yeah.
so Fred, I'm getting Freedom.
So what is clear? I'm doing clear, yeah.
Yep.
Great.
Just make sure.
Yeah. Good talk.
Is Humble come for this trip out east or just on vacation?
Pretty close.
No, vacation.
Okay, nice people in an important area of life.
Yeah.
As we know.
I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of Humble
We were
and
trying
Fred
to figure it out.
listeners.
We were trying to figure it out too.
Yeah.
How's it going down?
That board needs a dusting. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Ah.
The feather. I gotta get the feather duster.
Raymond James.
Do you have
We're
one?
doing
No, we-
this year, buddy?
No. Oh yeah, opening day with Darren
Find
Wasley.
it in your home, in your
Oh
attic,
my God, there's
in your
a
basement.
Let me see, I gotta
You're
hold this
exposed to
Promotions guy, right?
asbestos. You could develop
We're
mesothelioma,
best
an
friends.
aggressive
Always
form of
have been.
cancer
From
that
CFMI
involves
days.
the lining of the
It's always
bones,
different. I was, well, maybe bring that up.
or heart. Do not touch
Bring
it.
what up?
Well, no, I was at a Blue Jay game. It
Don't
was the worst
ignore it
experience
either.
Freddie.
If you have asbestos in your home,
Oh, okay.
contact Clear
All right.
Air
It was
Solutions
just
for a visual inspection and sampling. Leave
We're
it
talking
to
about the
the
Raptors too.
experts.
All these
The
people like,
benefits
boo,
of your
Kawhi
health.
when he comes back
Visit
December 11th.
careerair
He's a god.
No, don't do
Isn't
that.
it
No, I
funny,
hate
John?
when someone does.
Your contract runs out of Q. You decide to go to CFNY because it's better for you and your family.
Ringside MD has your back.
I'm an engineer, and
Ask about their peace
a
of
job
mind
offer
plan
comes up, you
and
take
book
it. It's
your
good.
appointment
Hey, on the way.
today at
Why is it with athletes? They
ringside
commit their
clinic.ca.
all fulfillment and contract.
Right.
He did everything he was asked to do. The man wants to go play. Like, he wants to go home. Why is sports supposed to be different than that?
And if you're interested in a unique advertising
Or I don't know
opportunity,
how much you talk
we
about
have
sports.
a solution.
Oh, no, we
Humble
do.
and Fred Radio,
Our demo's
a
still.
30-year brand on Funny
I love this
820,
show.
on Twitch
Oh my god,
TV,
last time we're
and
not
the
far.
most
Remember that?
uploaded
So I was in his
podcast
hot tub,
in
naked
Canadian
hot tub.
history.
He brought it up. He's
For a
like,
personalized
yeah.
advertising model that isn't
Because
as
Donnie
valuable
Mean was in the
as
hot tub at the time, and he's gay.
reasonable cost.
And
If
that's
you'd like to be part of a
Okay,
leading
yeah.
Sorry.
program
Yeah.
with access to a
We're on
very
still,
in-depth
yeah. We're on Twitch and on Facebook.
Is that known?
This right now.
Oh, no. Sorry.
Oh,
Sean, would you like to edit that out?
Anyway, that's when Rosie DiMano started to call him Wendy, and he's on Frank Magazine with a bustier.
No, I
They
know.
plastered his face on McDonald's.
I know.
freaking-
Frank Sinatra and
I hate it like that.
Carson Air Matinee Show on
Oh, so we're still on. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
tickets now.
It's the groom atmosphere, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
What?
Fresh Lake Erie Yellow Perch.
Especially with that in the background, too. You can't hear anything.
Okay.
I don't want to out anyone who doesn't want to be
Evansville
out.
presents Murder,
Yeah.
Mystery.
No, no.
No, exactly.
Evansville.
That's what someone asked me, which was like,
Call 905
Maureen Holloway at CHFI morning show. I've read the book. You're afraid of getting sued? I'm like, little bit.
Has anyone, have you had any pushback?
No, no,
Stories?
no.
Okay, in fact, I'm going to ask you about that quickly, and then maybe we'll get into some.
There's a wire you might have to.
And it's Big
from
League
your,
Babylon,
from your
right?
mouth.
yeah.
Big League
Just make
Babylon.
sure so it doesn't go rustling or anything. There you go.
So we're going to come back and we're going to do a couple of
Okay, this is
commercials,
the last
and then get
one.
back
Should
to
be.
you.
I love it.
Hurry into your Chevrolet
And they're timing it
dealer or
properly.
visit ChevroletOffers.ca
You
for
remember the ratings are really
some
good.
conditions apply.
Or you're just...
No, we get lots of downloads.
This is Humble and Fred, only on Funny 820.
Yes, the Humble and Fred show without Howard until Monday. Amanda's here. Sweet Amanda's come in every morning at 7 o'clock to help out her Freddie.
I have been.
Meow.
To help
then-
out the
and then-
team.
Phil pushing all the buttons like Howard usually does.
Yeah.
When I first get in the business, I pushed a lot of buttons.
Did you now?
But I haven't done it in years, and I don't want to jump on that side and screw stuff up. So Phil's looking after that.
Expertly, I might say.
And here's Sean with Twitch. Look at this sweet boy doing this hard work every day.
You want to sit on Daddy's knee?
Oh, that ain't creepy.
That took a turn. That took a turn. I
Show's
wasn't-
not over yet. I mean,
Anyway,
I don't know what that means.
And that voice, that loud voice in the you just heard is John Gallagher, this morning's guest. Before we get back to John, Clear Air Solutions, Amanda?
Yes.
Isn't that a wonderful company?
It sure is, and I'd love to talk about it. It is the official mold remediation company of Humble and Fred. They do asbestos abatement, including vermiculite. So if you don't know what that is, you definitely need to reach out to them. That's cleararsolutions.com. You know what? Listen, a lot of us are living in older houses, or you have a cottage, and they're up there as well. So if you've got a cottage, you're not sure if that has asbestos or it has a funky smell, why don't you go to cleararsolutions.com. They've done hundreds, and I'm talking about hundreds of different deals over the last 15 years. They're fully certified, fully insured, properly trained professional staff. They will come to you.
And if you need any construction work done around the house, Freedom Construction, they are the people you want to talk to. Freedom Construction, general contractors, they take care of all the details. Custom-made kitchens, bathrooms, basements for builders, residential customers. They do it all. Exterior carpentry is their specialty. Go to freedomconstruction.ca. Choose a company built on quality, pride, and integrity. Humble and Fred did. And boy, look at this place. Look at this place. Hey, John Gallagher, what do you think? This is not a bad studio.
No.
Hey?
And
For
listen
a couple
to
of
and
hacks.
speaking of pressing some buttons, Phil's playing a little Al Stewart there.
Yeah.
You're the cat. You know, my favorite song of Al Stewart, of course, is Time Passages.
Mm-hmm.
Time Passages. Time Passages. It's 8:12. Time Passages.
Okay.
I'm not normal. I'm
No.
just a big, stupid...
Now I'm starting to get nervous.
Are you nervous? Are you going on Daddy's knee next?
Yeah, I just asked Sean to sit on my knee, and I'm like, time, Pastor Jeff. Time, Pastor Jeff. That's how he sings it, eh?
No, I know.
I know.
No, I love Al Stewart.
Sure.
It's on all my playlists, even my Spotify playlist that I can't play right now because I've been hacked.
Just like the 407, I don't know Al Stewart. I'm sorry.
You've been You don't know Al- hacked?
I don't know any. Yeah, he's been hacked, and they keep playing a song by Elizabeth Chan. We don't know who that is.
Yeah.
My Facebook, what do you call it?
Facebook
profile.
Profile's been hacked. Yeah.
Has it really?
And people are like, okay, what's Gallagher's dog's name? You know, and like, I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah. How do I get unhacked? Do I report it to
I don't
Mr.
know.
Well,
Mr.
I don't
Zuckerberg?
know. I got to find out too, because the thing is, Facebook you don't pay for, but Spotify is costing me $10 a month, and I can't use it right now.
Yeah.
I'm a little annoyed.
I'm telling a story.
Maybe you just need to lean into the Elizabeth Chan hour or whatever.
And I got to figure out like how do I get out of this? Of course, I'll depend on Phil to help me.
Uh-huh.
Phil, push those right buttons, will
I
you,
know
buddy?
a Chan.
He's the Elizabeth Chan of this morning show.
So, John Gallagher, in the past year or so, or is it the past 2 years, you wrote a book?
That's right. Big League Babylon, the misadventures of a rabble-rousing sportscaster and why he should be freaking dead by now.
And how did the book do?
It went to number 7 on the bestseller list.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, there's a country of what, 39, 40 million, Canada?
Yeah.
Less than 3% buy books. So having the number 7 best-selling book, John Gallagher's Big League Babylon, is like being valedictorian at summer school. I mean, really.
Take it.
It's like, yeah. But, you know,
No, I know
take it.
a bestseller in Canada is like 5,000 copies, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's tough because when you write a book in Canada, as you did, well, it's not easy to write a book, right?
It was just a labor of love.
Yeah.
You know, my favorite subject, me. Every chapter is about me, John Gallagher.
Okay.
Currently residing in the Where Are They Now file, except here on humbleandfredradio.com.
Everybody loves a good story, though, and that book, Big League Babylon, is full of amazing
Oh, you know, the cool
stories.
thing about you guys is you read the book, you know. And I was on with Derringer, and I was on with, all these other people. And, T.O. Mike's really cool. Mike Boone.
Yes,
Loves
good
you.
yes.
But, I mean, you sit down and read the book, and then,
He's
let it
great,
rip.
isn't he, Toronto Mike? Yeah.
Terrific.
He's
Terrific.
really he's a wonderful guy, big friend of the show.
Yeah, and asks all the right questions,
Yep.
and just so and just loves radio, like everyone in this room. You know, it's pretty cool.
No, what I'm saying is whether you said it was a labor of love, it's still a lot of work. And when you embark on that, you realize that the payoff isn't going to be that big.
That's right, and the upfront money is not that big either.
Right. So you come away from it. What else do you get from it besides money, other than the satisfaction of writing a book? Does it open any other doors or opportunities or?
Well, absolutely. You know, it's funny because I was doing a lot of morning shows, all the big ones, and, and managers would listen and go, and they'd bring me aside and go, we should do something with you. And I had some great opportunities filling in for all these some other radio stations.
Oh, great!
Yeah. So other people are out there going, Gallagher, I remember him. He used to be somebody.
Okay, so when you were here the last time, to promote your book,
you bet.
When it was current, I mean, we talked a lot about your lifestyle then.
Yes.
Is your lifestyle different now?
Yes, I did enough cocaine back in the 80s and 90s to wipe out the Cuban army. But it's been, I just, I do the odd, no, I don't do drugs at all.
You look great, by the way.
What's that?
You look fantastic.
Thank you.
You do. You're tanned, you're lean, you look great.
Oh, Amanda.
No, but it's true. I
Thank
speak
you.
truth.
And it's been 20 years since I ever did a line of cocaine.
No,
and don't do drugs at all, just the odd, cup
Cocktail.
of wine. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, yep.
No, and that's good because, people can fall into that hole and never get out of it.
What a terrible, terrible drug. It's Robin Williams is dead on. Just sucks all the money out of your bank account. Nothing works below the waist. It's
Right.
just, and you're up all night going. It's a terrible drug.
You talk about, and I wouldn't know. And you talk about us being competitors, and we were on like couple of rock stations.
Sure.
Going head to head, but our lifestyles were so different. I worked at a rock station, CFNY, and I know people did drugs at that radio station too. Not only have I never done cocaine, I've never been in a room when somebody's done cocaine.
Oh, really?
Can you believe that?
Smokes. In our industry, that's nuts.
But John, here's the thing. When you were at Q107 and single and living that lifestyle, I was going home to my little family in Brampton.
Right.
So I mean,
and the Tiki Hut.
Yeah,
the world famous Tiki Hut.
No, and listen, I was a young father. I was living out in Brampton, so that whole sort of rock and roll radio lifestyle that a lot of guys lived, I never lived it. I guess out of the responsibility I had at the time. And now in retrospect, I hear some of these stories that you tell, and it's like, wow, what did I miss out on? You know what I mean? It's like hot tubs and...
But Howard's got a lot of those stories, too. I mean,
yeah.
You know what's funny is, so I do work sometimes with, it's not fun, or not exciting, but I do work with KPMG. And last week I was there in Orlando with them. And so one of the trainers that I was working with, I found out she grew up in Toronto. And she now lives in Tahoe, but she just moved, actually, from Toronto. And so we were talking and having dinner one night, and I said, well... Because she said, what do you do with when you're not doing this? And I said, I work with Humble and Fred. She goes, oh, wow, you must have some cocaine stories, is what she said. Humble and Fred. And it was like the first thing she said was cocaine. I thought it was so interesting.
And where would she get that?
I think because of she used to be married to somebody, Universal Music something. So her memory of that world, she's lumping you in, and Howard in, with that world of 90s, early 90s kind of thing.
I think part of it was being stuck out in Brampton too, because here you are, you're at Q107, you're living downtown, you're doing the morning show, maybe a nap in the day, maybe.
Absolutely.
And then you're going on to TV. Right. When were you taking that? So when you were doing Q and TV, were you doing cocaine?
No, God, no. I was a weekend warrior. Trust me. I would never do it during the week, ever.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't that kind of thing. It was a party, social.
Oh my goodness!
Not a like in the morning.
Yeah, and I'd finish the morning show at 9 and 9:30, like take a little nap, go in and maybe cover the the Maple Leaf practice, the Raptors practice, and take another nap, and then go do the sportscast was on at 11 o'clock at night.
So you were on 11 o'clock at night. So
money was pretty good.
Yeah, I bet. Although I think I asked you this last time, but just to reconfirm, when you were doing Q and City Sports, the radio job paid more, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. Fascinating.
And a lot of people wouldn't believe that.
No.
Right.
They wouldn't.
But morning radio at the time paid pretty good money.
It paid. And don't forget the appearance fees. I mean, I get 5, 6, 8, 10 grand for showing up at a Budweiser event for the Super Bowl in Calgary or Moncton, and it was just stupid money.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. The house that, the Chateau de Chardonnay paid for itself with those appearance fees, man.
You know what I often say, too, to broadcasters now? It's because we all bitch from time to time. We do. And you don't, when you're in that environment and you love what you do and you always want to be on the radio, you're on the radio, and then people are handing you money for doing events like that. You take it for granted.
Well, because it was also in a specific place and time. I know that exists, but not at the level.
But you start to take it for granted, and then all of a sudden when it's gone, it's like, wow, I should have appreciated that way more.
But that's why people
than I did at the time.
You know what? And you see it in a lot of people who worked around the same time. They either become really bitter and really angry, or they reinvent.
Yeah.
Those are your options. You let go, you be dragged. Those are your options. So it's really interesting to me when I get to see, because it wasn't my world, obviously, when I get to see people coming in and having those kind of conversations about 10, 20 years ago, what that looked like, what that felt like, what the money was like, and that ultimately not existing in the way that it used to. And so what do you do when it's gone? When it feels like, I'm sure, like it's taken from you, right? But it was all in a place and time. Nobody's entitled to it. It's just a thing that happened.
And I personally had some pretty good advice along the way. My biggest earning years, I got advice from people at the top saying, this is a precarious business. You never know. So I always sort of lived below my means. And I did.
No, I hear you.
And in retrospect, I'm glad I did, because
And those little appearance fees and some of those voiceover stuff, that was just the play money. And, But I will say this, though. I'm doing a lot of, I'm in a Pixar movie right now. I'm half dog, half stereo system.
Tell us. This is so exciting.
Yeah. And the money is like stupid good, right? I talk.
Good for
I'm like,
you.
hey! You know, it's like.
Oh, you got a part where you yell?
Isn't that something? I mean, talk about stereotyping. I'm like, hey, coming at you, coming on you, hey. And I'm like, I'm boomer. It's just hilarious.
Has that
And then
come
they let me
out?
riff. I asked the producers. I go, when is this? 'Cause I'm single. I don't have any kids. When is this movie coming out? And they went, I think 2023. I'm like, maybe I'll have a family by then.
Yeah.
Have the kids sit in my knee and go to a theater and watch me.
Maybe.
Hey!
Yeah. That's awesome, though. Congrats. That's amazing.
Have you ever been married?
No. I lived with a young lady for 9 or 10 years. And,
That's over? Oh, of course it's over, because you told me last night you were going out on a date.
I had a lovely date last night. I think she's listening right now.
That's amazing.
At humbleandfredradio.com.
So-
Yes.
A man of your age, when you go out on a date, describe it to me.
Well, she was a taller woman, and I said to her, I want to shimmy up to you like a naked native boy looking for coconuts. She's like,
how did that go over?
Didn't go.
No.
Check, please. Yeah, no, that didn't. No. I looked at her. I said, I hope you're worth the climb, really, because
She was that much taller than you?
Holy cow.
How did you meet her? Like on one of those things?
BigTallSally.com.
Yeah.
I met her at Yorkville last week at a gallery opening, and an ex-girlfriend of mine introduced us, and we went to Sassafras. And
Oh my God, Sassafras!
I walked in with like 8 or 10 gorgeous women, and the maitre d' at Sassafras thought we were filming The Bachelor. He says, Gallagher, where are the cameras? Look at you and this, like 8 unbelievable looking women. And
wow.
It was just, well, I had a date out of it, so that's good.
That's amazing.
It's a true story.
I love it. I love it. I love all of it.
Oh, Johnny Gallagher, still living in the fast lane. Crazy man.
What a silly way to make a living, isn't it?
Yeah. So, what are you doing for a living now?
I really invested well. I
Oh,
don't
good
wanna,
for you.
Yeah, because we had a lot of, like the morning show was making a lot of money,
Right.
the appearance fees, the voiceover stuff, and then City at Night. So I bought a house, and that's basically, I'm living off that.
Oh, good for you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, no, it was just right in Lawrence Park, just that avenue in Lawrence.
Oh,
and it's,
cha-ching,
I
cha-ching.
know.
Do you rent a house? Do you buy a house to rent, or you?
No, I bought it.
You bought where you live.
Yeah, I bought the damn thing for $244,000, and I don't want to say this out of school because it sounds like I'm, blowing smoke, but it's now worth $2,244,000.
Yeah.
So I'm just
makes sense.
La-di-da.
Yeah, good for you.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah.
And for a while, you were working with Frank D'Angelo.
I was.
Oh my God, were you?
How was that
Oh my
experience?
God,
It was what's it called? Next Star Sports? Or
Yes,
something?
it's nextsportstar.com. It's basically where you start your sportscasting career or you end it. But I'm on with Phil Esposito and Bill Waters, and that was pretty funny because these are some of the big masterminds of sports. And Frank loves his sports, and Frank's doing. Speaking of living the life. He sings, he dances, he makes
he
movies.
does it all. He does it all.
He's an acquired taste, I'll tell you that. But I'll
right.
tell you what.
Frank's always looking for talent, and he finds it right within himself.
Yes.
That's what I need somebody for my movie. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Hey, a talk show. Yeah, let's do a talk show. Who will host it?
Yeah.
I will.
I get an idea. Me.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
He pitches himself.
I need somebody to sing it. You need somebody to sing at your wedding? I'll do it.
And his movies are filled with,
Oh my God.
with James Caan and Danny Aiello.
He gets him for a weekend and shoots like 5 different movies with them in
Yeah,
one.
exactly.
But you know what's cool about it?
Yeah.
Well, cool.
Paul Sorvino, is it like in all of
Paul
them?
Sorvino, good one.
Yeah.
He's got the means to finance it all.
Yeah.
'Cause there-
Well, yeah.
You think there's other people putting money in that?
I don't know. I told tales out of school, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
Watch it too.
I know.
Watch what you say about
Oh, I
Frank.
know.
Speaking of Paul Sorvino, I was in a movie with Paul Sorvino, and
Right.
Humble and I went in and auditioned for it.
Right.
Humble Howard.
Yes.
And I walked out.
I know him, yes.
He's sitting right where you usually sit, John.
He's at the Best Western right now and eating a waffle.
Yes.
And so I walk in, and we do the audition, Humble and I. We killed. And I go, who's in this movie? And the producer goes, Paris Hilton. I'm like, good luck with that.
Yeah, right.
So in my book, I one of the chapters is, so I wake up next to Paris Hilton, who's fast asleep next to me, while Joan Jett of the Runaways waits her turn. Now we're in a makeup chair, and Paris is next to me, and I'm giving Humble the elbow. I'm like, look who's next to me.
Amazing.
Paris Hilton and Paul Sorvino's there, and it was called Repo: The Genetic Opera, and apparently this is number 16 on the Rolling Stone cult movies of all time. So Humble and I could be at card shows, for goodness sakes, signing autographs.
You could, to be honest. Yes,
Yeah,
Comic-Con,
yeah.
absolutely.
And
There's big money in Comic-Con.
Sorvino, like from Goodfellas, right? He was doing this series of sausages in New Jersey, right? And out of a movie. Not that kind of sausage, just pork sausages. Now, people. Anyway, he says to me, just like right out of the movie, now, John, if you don't buy my sausages, I'm going to have to turn my back on you. Just like he does with Ray Liotta, right? And the whole makeup room went freaking nuts. Oh, my God.
Great.
As far as sports go, obviously you still have an interest and passion in sports. We won't get into the Montreal Canadiens. You know I can't stand them. You love them, so there's no use even going there.
You and I had the greatest battle on Facebook a little while ago.
Of course
it was great.
Yeah. He's a good Facebook battler, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. It was we dug in, man. We were like... Because you put something when they got eliminated from the playoffs, and you had a golf.
It was a golf ball on the edge of a.
Funny.
Funny. The old golf thing. Yeah, that hasn't been used either, has it?
Now we could talk about the Blue Jays because I was at a Blue Jay game in May, and it was just the most. The Raptors were playing a playoff game down the street, so there were 3,000 people. The roof was closed. Jays got 2 hits. And the roof and 3,000 people were there. Minnesota was playing. It was just the worst environment I've ever been through at a sporting event in this city. It was just appalling.
Do they still? So I used to work for the Jays for about 3 years. So they back in those days, they used to put how many people were there, and you'd cheer. And then as the season went on, it was the years I was there was 2002 to 2004. So not great years. And so towards the end of the season, it would be like 3,000 people at the game today, and you just show like the sparse crowds. Do they still do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like,
I'm yelling at a player. I'm heckling some player just for fun because you can, there's 3,000 people. You could say anything, and the player would turn around and then told me to stop.
Yeah.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah. One of the ushers came. Actually, went to my friend.
God, that's
they
funny.
thought he was yelling at the player, but it was me. Just having a couple, having
You're
fun.
kidding.
It's like training camp.
Yeah, they took the guy up and said, "You can't be heckling the baseball players."
Right.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. Remember Rod Beck played for the Boston Red Sox.
Right.
Big relief pitcher. I'm doing the Panasonic Power Thursday, and I've had a couple of cocktails, right? Because it's my day off. Yeah. And I go, hey, Rod, there's 48,000 people at the ballpark, and I said, now pitching for the Boston Red Sox, Rod Beck. By the way, the 70s call. They want their porno mustache back. This is live on the big screen.
Did you
I
really?
got a letter from Major League Baseball to cease and desist comments such as that.
Oh my God!
I'm just having fun.
Letter.
Rod Beck, big guy.
Oh,
I'm surprised he didn't come up and go,
That's
smarty
funny.
little Irish leprechaun.
One thing I will say about the Blue Jays, the little team they're assembling now, I think the fans will come back over the next couple of years.
I agree.
And you being a native Montrealer,
yep.
There's talk now of maybe the Tampa Bay Rays playing half the season in Montreal. Do you think that would fly?
I think that would fly. I think they could probably play at the Olympic Stadium, which is falling apart as we speak. Like a 5-ton freaking brick fell down a couple of years ago. That was the bad news. The good news is they found Jimmy Hoffa. But but I think they'll play at Olympic Stadium, this vacuous, just terrible structure with no personality. And while they're doing that, for the first year and a half, build a stadium downtown, which they had Labatt Park, which was going to be right next to the Molson Center or the Bell Center as they play your favorite team, the Canadians, play. But I think it'll run. And Tampa's a good team, Freddie.
Absolutely. Instantly, they'd be better than the Blue Jays. We couldn't have that.
But why
could
would
we?
they do that? I'm just quick sports question. Why would they do that? I mean, aren't they not huge in Tampa? Isn't there a fan base in Tampa?
No,
There's not.
No.
Even with good teams, they can't.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, the
Tropicana Field field, Amanda,
is it too hot
just.
or what?
Well, it's an indoor stadium, and there's
and it's down in St. Petersburg.
Right.
So it's not really Tampa.
It's Tampa Bay.
And it's South St. Pete's, down near the Skyway.
Okay.
That's right.
That answers that.
And in our closing minutes here, you
want to talk about Kawhi?
You were talking about Kawhi Leonard and the fact that people are saying that they may boo him when he comes back on December 11th.
December 11th with the Clippers. And I'm like, really? Really? Are you going to throw tomatoes when they erect a statue of this guy outside the Scotiabank Arena, which they should? You know, if you would have said to me and everyone in the room, okay, here's what's going to happen. We're going to trade DeRozan to the Spurs.
Right.
And he's not going to win a darn thing for the Raptors. We all know that, right? You know, didn't do a thing in the playoffs every year. Well, of course, they had to face LeBron. We're going to get Danny Green and we're going to get Kawhi Leonard, but we're going to win the championship, but we're going to lose these guys after the season. Would you do it again?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, Fred.
And the thing is about it, and we were talking during the break about this, there's something about sports where people think there should be some kind of loyalty that doesn't exist in other areas of business and careers. And I mean, you're at a radio station, your contract's up, somebody makes you a better offer, you go.
And that's an example.
That's great.
Great analogy.
I'm an engineer and a company makes me a better offer, I go, and it's good for him. Why is it Kawhi Leonard comes here, fulfilled every aspect of what was asked of him?
He's a god in this town. A god.
And he went home to play.
You just want to go home, buddy.
Why? And you can't
It's
argue.
like we act like we own them.
Yes.
We own the players. It's such a weird.
Well, back in the day in baseball and hockey and all the big sports, they did own. It was like owning a plantation. You couldn't be a free agent. You couldn't walk. Kurt Flood tried it in the late 60s with the Cardinals. And
right. Hold it there, John.
You bet.
We're running out of time here. Thank you very much for coming in. Late notice today. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thanks to the Sherpa who's still here. Amanda, Phil, Sean, thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll do a little podcast extra with John. Take it away, Phil.
This episode of Humble and Fred Radio is brought to you by FYI Music News, The Retirement Sherpa, Gig Sky, The Chambers Plan, Strain Print, Freedom Construction, Ringside MD, and Clear Air Solutions. We broadcast to the world from the Humble and Fred Queensway National Broadcast Center. More Humble and Fred tomorrow and online at humbleandfredradio.com.
Loving you, baby child. Tidying up on your reins, you're running wild. It's true.
We're on.
Not long.
Great. Awesome. Sorry.
What are you doing?
Well, we do what they call a podcast extra.
Great.
This isn't live on the air.
Okay.
This will be added to the podcast, which will be
And we can
uploaded.
say swear words.
How long are we going to do for?
We're on it right now. It's happening.
on it right now.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Put it back on and swear.
No, Amanda, you may have to leave.
Is that okay? I'm going to
Yes.
say goodbye. Only because traffic has been mostly good. And then Front Street yesterday was bad. And I have clients today, so I want to make sure I'm there with them. Because we all have 9 lives, don't we? We all have 9 lives. Okay, shut my mic off because it's going to be clunk, 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 clunk. And I will see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow we have the Spin Doctors on.
Nice.
The Spin Doctors.
The Spin Doctors, Spin Doctors.
Are they performing live in studio?
They sure aren't. We got one of them.
You know what? One of them. Foreigner did a concert a couple of years ago at Kitchener-Waterloo without one single member of the original band. At least, have the drummer or something, right? Or the bass player. Not one member of Foreigner tonight. Foreigner at Lulu's.
You don't want to be too critical over the airwaves of the current state of sports broadcasting and what have you, because the radio station we're at, I mean, they have a sports station.
Yep.
But what do you think of sports radio as it is in the city, in Canada, compared to the States?
Yeah. I think a lot of these people are just, I don't know. I mean, again, you can't tell the players without a program. When you watch City TV and all these other stations, who are these people? These nameless, faceless people, and that's basically what they're doing with 24-hour sports stations. I don't know who they are. I don't know what they look like, And they're 2 weeks out of Ryerson. Bless their hearts. You got to start somewhere. But start in, where was your first gig? Mine was St. John, New Brunswick. Well, hotbed of romance and intrigue.
I was lucky. because I started in Brampton
Right.
at a little AM station, and then which was part of CFNY, so I sort of grew with it.
Nice.
So I was in a small market, but not really. So that's, you know, I didn't have to go through what a lot of guys did, go way out to the boonies and work my way back in.
But it was a fun experience. I did 5 years at Halifax under the Chumbrella, as they call it.
Right.
And one of the great undiscovered cities of our in
Yes.
North America.
Yeah.
Halifax, and that's where Humble is, I guess, right now.
Mhm.
But just a great experience. Wouldn't trade it for for anything. You know.
Bob McCown, like that's
oh my goodness,
that's an interesting story because Bob, you know, he's sort of the dean of sports talk in Canada,
Sure.
of course,
Right.
and to let him go, it's you know, we've been wondering a lot about the Blue Jays lately. What exactly are they doing, right, with these trades? And
yeah,
at Rogers, it's like, okay, so you let go of McCown, your highest profile guy, maybe for money, whatever it was.
It had to be money.
So, but where do you go from there? Like, what are you doing? What are your plans for that radio station?
Right, right.
And so far, you know, you listen in the afternoon, and you had that personality, bigger than life. He was like a star, which would attract you to it.
Exactly. And he was so full of it. But he knew he
Absolutely.
was. And he would look at you. I did that show a number of times, Fred.
Right.
And he'd look at you over the glasses, or
Yeah.
and he'd give you a little wink. He goes, just to tell you that I know I'm full of it.
Mhm.
I'm full of it. And
No.
everyone, no one knows it but you and I. But
Mhm.
let's just run with it, right? You know,
Yeah,
you
and
know.
it just seems like such an end of an era, and I don't really know why they would do that. I mean, we've been trying to get him in here to talk about it. Whether he will actually talk about it, I don't know.
Right.
Because you don't know what he signed on his way out. But
Yeah. And I don't, as we discussed before, I just don't get the fact that all the sportscasters, the TV sportscasters, are
Yeah.
just being let go.
Mhm.
Gordon Martineau, 39 years in the business. Okay, he walks
Right.
he walks into City TV, and they want to see you up in the boardroom. Right, Gordon? I'm sorry, I'm telling the story, but it's true.
Yeah.
And he's obviously to talk about his 40th anniversary. The gold
Mhm.
ring, the party. One person's in there with an envelope, pushes it towards him. We'll need your pass key. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
Talk about unceremoniously.
Well, I think he told that story when he came in, didn't he?
Yeah, his last visit a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is that right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the same with Kevin Frankish and a lot of the people that we know. They didn't retire. They were let go, you know? Because that's just the way it is with all the... I mean, like, do you have Netflix?
Yes.
Right. Do you pay for Netflix? Don't have to tell me that.
Yes.
Oh, good, because
Why?
there's really only two. There's only two passwords in the entire world, and
Everyone's
everyone's using
sharing
two of
them,
them.
yeah.
And Netflix doesn't mind because people are watching the House of Cards, and people are they're winning Emmys and
Yeah, but where's the revenue coming if they're not getting it through
That's
subscriptions?
an excellent question.
Yeah,
And they don't care.
Well, the revenue is coming from somewhere. Although, to be honest, my son pays for it,
Right.
And then I hop on his, which
nice.
is, yeah,
There you go.
which
Okay.
is, I guess,
oh,
legal.
that's fine. Sure. Yeah. But all these, the Gen Xers and all these people, the cutting of cords. I know people, nieces and nephews who haven't paid for cable in ever.
Well, I was at my son's place a couple of weeks ago, and he's got one of these little, what do you call them, Android boxes, or what are they called?
Yeah, Cody boxes.
It was
Really?
unbelievable, John, because
Yeah.
a lot of those things, traditionally, you can't count on them. You know, it's like the game's on, you go to put it on, and for some reason it's not there, you can't get that feed, or it's down that night.
Right.
No matter what I asked him, he could bring it up. And
How about
and it was a $20 initial fee, and if there's a monthly fee, there's nothing.
Yeah, there's a young man probably acting as a hacker, getting into all the fees, basically. Yeah,
But they were great quality, and every American service that you could think of was on that thing. And he's going to pay $150 a month to Rogers? I don't think so.
I tuned in the tennis game the other day just to see how our young Bianca was doing.
Right.
And I got the Blue Jay game. And what's with Buck Martinez? What's with the singy-songy delivery? Bautista takes the ball in for a strike. He's hitting .318 for the season. I mean, what's that? Anyway.
Go ball,
that's
get out
right.
of here.
Exactly. Get up, ball, get up. Come on. Good. You can't.
Have you ever met Buck?
I love Buck. Buck's a friend of mine. Buck was on the Gallagher Show on TSN. Oh, when about you, Freddie, is we were beaten. I mean, the people like Chris Selkovich and William Houston just didn't get sportscasting.
No.
They didn't get the new wave, Freddie P.,
No.
Gallagher, Brian Henderson,
No.
those great guys. Gallagher, those great guys. You and I. They just, they were used to Kurt Gowdy, and they used to Joe Garagiola.
Oh, I know.
And they hammered us.
Yeah, they took shots at me all the time. And
if I ever see Chris Selkovich, I will knock his block off.
Yeah, for not taking sports seriously enough.
Yeah.
You'd have you'd put a joke in the sportscast, and
right.
I know.
And you were on the air supporting the Gallagher Show, and I just loved you for it.
Yeah.
It was a nice little tight knit community. It was we backed each other up as we do.
No,
like you texted me yesterday. What time? 5 o'clock. I'll be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Give me the address. I'm there, buddy.
Yeah, you bring that up when you had the Gallagher Show. I remember they roasted you.
Oh my God.
And that's right. And I went on CFNY and I defended you.
You did.
I said, give the guy a break.
Yeah.
I mean, he's trying something different. It's like when I did the TV show in the late 80s, the Sports Zone.
Right.
It was different. You know what was funny about that?
That was a good show. Sunday night, CBC.
Sitting in easy chairs, wearing casual clothing, and that was, are you kidding? How dare you? And they treated us like shit at CBC.
Yeah.
Don Martin in particular was not very nice to us because we weren't wearing suits and ties and sitting behind a desk and,
Really? And where is Don Martin today?
But not only that, but where is sports today?
Yeah.
Casual chairs like Michael Landsberg's show and
Sure.
guys sitting in easy chairs and just a lot of sports shows are like that.
Yeah. I remember the first weekend the Gallagher Show was on.
Mm-hmm.
I go to the Starbucks with my chocolate lab, and I'm reading the Star, and it's Selkovich, Gallagher's new show on TSN, astonishingly boring. I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
And I walk back, and this big cement truck honks its horn, hey, Gallagher! And I'm waving, your show freaking sucks! I'm like, I'm having a good day. This is going to be good.
Yeah, but that's part of it, especially in Canada.
Yeah.
Because we eat our own.
Oh, exactly.
And
sir.
we never give anybody the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
And I think I'm guilty of it. I've said it on the show many times, like we were talking about Schitt's Creek the other day. When that first came out, I thought, it's Canadian CBC. I'm not going to watch it.
Apparently it's brilliant.
I know. So it's not fair. But so you went through that. I went through that.
Indeed. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if it's Canadian and it's those radio guys and it's TV, it must suck. And it's too bad.
Yeah.
Because you know what? It means a lot of good television probably didn't get made because of that.
Right.
Because of that attitude.
Yeah.
So, okay, Johnny, I think that's it for the day.
You are a good man, Freddie Pete.
Yeah, and again, thank you, Last Minute, for coming in. You were very entertaining.
As one is.
We have the technology to take down your voice a bit here for the moments where you are distorted.
We have our gain control.
We have our gain control. The distortion will be looked after, John. You don't have to worry about that.
No problem.
All right, see you tomorrow, everybody.
Excellent.
The jigsaw jazz and the get fresh flow, pulling out jobs and jamboree handouts, 2 turntables and a microphone, bottles and cans, and just clap your hands, or just clap your hands.
Listen.